Good morning. It's me. It's funny. So we are back in Collar X Malice. We are officially starting the last of the 5 stories. So this is Yanagi's story. You had to play everyone else's story to unlock his. I think we're just gonna have to start a new story. The same name used anyways. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's got much. Interesting. Which is in Yanagi. January 1st, someday. January 1st, 2020. It's been a year since the project began. This is a record of the March to X day. This is written as a report, though someone else may view it as a diary. I decided to leave this record as a way to keep myself calm. Our plan, refined over a decade, is finally coming to fruition. The countdown executors have assembled. On April 1st, the restoration will begin. The plan has been revised countless times. All the necessary materials have been acquired. All of our preparations should be complete. However, precisely because everything was set to begin, I was racked by a mess of emotions. Joy, anticipation, conscience, and unease. Conscience. Were there any undiscovered holes in the plan? Had we truly created a plan with no flaws? Regardless of how many simulations were ran, nothing can account for unexpected developments. Above all, would my heart be able to bear all the sorrow and pain our actions would create? In order to evaluate myself objectively, I have decided to write this record. When I read this in a year on the dawn of X Day, I'm sure I'll feel a sense of accomplishment. Someone once said, "Hate the sin, not the sinner." But this view is incorrect. The sin committing human should be hated. Their species caused despair and sorrow and sowed evil. To purge the humans corrupting this world, we had to swiftly deliver judgment. We had to become stronger, so strong that we could eliminate all sadness. We needed to do it with our own hands to save those who were devastated in sorrow. Interesting. The memory that I wanted to erase, but I could never forget it. I couldn't allow myself to forget it. Please, help me. Yeah. Forgive me. Yeah. Please, stop. I had to kill them. That's definitely what I thought. I was forced to kill. I'd completely lost control of my thoughts. My hands were moving reflexively. Instinct had completely taken over. Gi. Nagi.
Yanagi senpai.
Yanagi.
Yanagi senpai.
Yanagi. What's up, Enomoto? October 7th, 9:47.
顔が近い。
You're way too close.
何度も声かけたのに全然反応ないから、どうしたもんかって考えてただけっすよ。
You weren't responding, so I was wondering if something was wrong
ぼ
with
ーっとしちゃっ
you.
て、目開けたまんま寝てたんですか？
You were totally spacing out, man. Were you sleeping with your eyes open? Anamoto was right in my face, saying something odd. The jarring sight made me blink. He appeared to have been calling my name. I was so deep in thought I hadn't
まだ囚
noticed.
われている。
Trapped again. I tried to block it out, but it kept playing. Memories, nightmares, playing on mental
消
repeat.
し去ろうとは思ってない。だが、情けないな。
I've never thought of trying to erase them, but I'm pathetic. Thinking about myself, I smiled
悪い。
bitterly.
少し考え事をしていた。
Sorry, I had something on my
へ
mind.
え、柳先輩でも妄想とかするんだ。
Wow, so even you daydream sometimes. Huh? What was that supposed to mean? I just answered his doubts with a look, and Amoto's mouth formed a sloppy
だ
grin.
って、いくら考え事つってもさ、先輩がそこまでぼーっとするなんて珍しいじゃないですか。
I mean, even when you've got a lot on your mind, I can hardly ever remember a time when you actually spaced
だ
out.
としたら、やっぱ仕事のことじゃなくてプライベートのことかなと。もしや、好きな子のこととか？
I was wondering if maybe it was something personal rather than work related. Oh, is it about a girl you like?
はあ
I decided to just let Enomoto teasing slide for now. I shrugged and checked at the clock. It was almost time for our
バカな
appointment.
こと言ってないで、今日くらいは真面目にしとけ。
Stop being an idiot and focus on taking your job seriously today at least.
謎に包まれた柳先輩のプライベート、ちょっと暴いてみたかったのにな。
Ooh, and here I thought I'd get to learn a little about your super secret private
お前
life.
が聞いて面白いものは隠れてない。話のネタにするなら、お前の恋愛遍歴の方がよっぽど盛り上がると思うぞ。
I'm not hiding anything you'd find interesting. If you feel like joking, then why don't we discuss your relationship history? Minio Enomoto is a hapless romantic with a history of love affairs that date back to kindergarten. After learning his teacher was married, he cried for 3 days and nights. The memory haunts him to this day.
そりゃ残念なネタならいくらでも。
There's plenty of sad stories there.
ってそうじゃなくて、柳先輩、あまり自分のこと話さないから。
Wait, that doesn't matter right now. Yanagi, you don't talk about yourself much.
興味半分じゃなくて、たまには男同士のくだらない話にも付き合ってくれねえかなって。
I'm not asking out of some half-baked curiosity. I figure us guys should bond sometime, you
とに
know.
かく、これから来る奴らは一筋縄じゃいかない連中だからな。
Hey, the people who are coming later aren't people you can underestimate.
さらっとスルーされた。
Wow, you just totally ignored me.
あまり浮かれてると、その価値なしとみなされて、協力してもらえないかもしれないぞ。
If you keep acting like that, they might get a bad impression of you and reconsider working with us.
柳先輩、この俺を誰だと思ってるんですか？
Hey, Yanagi, who do you think you're talking to here?
しかないと思っているが。
I think I'm talking to you, Enomoto.
あの盛り上げは俺の1000倍特許っすから。どんな人見知りのやつでも心開いてみせますよ。奥義、まずは天気の話から。
I've got a patent of leveling up the mood. Even the most standoffish people often open up. Secret technique. Talk about the weather.
求められているのはそういう部類の能力じゃないと思うが
I don't think that's the kind of talent they'd be interested in.
ま、大丈夫ですって。柳先輩が選んだ人なんだし、その辺は全然心配してねえから。
It's too early. Yo, everything will be fine. You vouch for them, right? There won't be anything to worry about.
にしてもな、どういう感じなんかな。科捜研の人と元再犯の人ですよね。
I wonder what they'll be like though. A CSI guy and an ex-hacker,
俺
right?
が警察にいた時は、そういう人たちと連携取るのは上の役目だったしな。ちょっと楽しみ。
When I was still in the force, the higher ups coordinated with those types. I'm kind of pumped.
能力は保証する。だが、実際に会ってみたら、そんな能天気ではいられないと思うぞ。
I'm completely confident in their skills, but when we meet them, I suggest that you do not act like an airhead.
何ですか？
Huh? What's that? I was wasting my breath. Enomoto didn't even realize what he was doing. This office was our headquarters. We were a detective agency, but that was just in name only. We had an appointment with some odd guest. I hope this all goes smoothly. Both of them were renowned non-conformist. One of them I'd never actually spoken to before, but the rumor gave me an idea what to expect. The other was an old acquaintance, but he definitely is a special case. We'll know once we meet them. Be ready.
Hey. Yanagi senpaiって結構心配性だよな。
Sure thing. Man, you're such a worrier, Yanagi. Seeing Enomoto smile so wide had the opposite effect of what he intended. Like me, Enomoto once worked for the police, however he quit after being betrayed. Ever since then, he hasn't trusted people. I really couldn't blame him for that. Even though he hasn't seen me in a long time, he made no effort to hide his caution. When Enomoto was with the police, we crossed paths several times at crime scenes. We didn't interact often, but we knew each other enough for him to invite me drinking, so I think our relationship is decent. But it's like he's becoming a totally different person since he quit the force. Sorry, Enomoto.
What?
What's this now? I don't know whether expanding our team will go well or not. There's a limit of how much progress we can make with this investigation on our own. I told you there's nothing to worry about if you chose them. I'm completely useless, you know. Anything to lighten your load is fine in my book. Alright then. I couldn't help but return Enomoto's smile. I recalled when I first invited Enomoto to help me after we had both quit the police. Sadake recommended him, and I was aware of who he was, so I figured it was worth a shot. But back then, Enomoto didn't trust anyone. I could still remember the way he eyed me. Even now, I can't help say he's helping Mutz. Despite his lack of results, he stays upbeat. Enomoto trusts me deeply now. When I first suggested that we add more collaborators, he agreed with me. Even though I knew he was still reeling, I was glad to have his trust. There was a knock on the door. Sounds like they're here. Without waiting for us to respond to their knock, the visitors quietly opened the door. Hey, it's been a while, Yanagi. The grinning man was one of the people that we'd been expecting. We just met last week. Oh, was that when it was? That's when we decided to meet here. Without that meeting, you wouldn't be here today. That's true. Thankfully, I've been busy with work. Guess I just lost track of time. And by work, I'm assuming you just found some new hobby entirely unrelated to work, huh? That's exactly what I mean. Anyways, you're here, and I assume that you're Takeru Sasaka? Hi. I feel like that was supposed to be in the previous one, because it says I'm Takeru Sasaka 24, so that should have probably been the previous thing. He's an IT specialist who used to be assigned to Cybercrime Prevention Division. He was one of the people that they brought on at Investigation HQ prior to my resignation. I only knew him from his resume because I couldn't remember all the new faces there. I was probably the same to him. He'd have no reason to remember my face. I'd heard of his considerable talent. Legality aside, he specialized in hacking. 24 is not that old, bro. Pretty baby face for a 24-year-old. That was my first impression of Sasuke. He didn't look like a genius hacker to me. But what's with those eyes? As soon as Sasuke entered the room, he had been glowering at us with a narrowed-eyed glare. The look he gave me and Enomoto, it was almost a look of animosity. It was our first meeting, so I had to wonder what had so thoroughly rankled him.
へえ、この人がプロファイラーなんですか？マジで？つうかちっちゃ。
Wow, so you're a profiler? Seriously, bro? Damn, you're tiny. Enomoto seized up the moment to shatter the silence and the tension without the slightest hint of restraint. Sasuke visibly stiffened. He was obviously upset.
違う。プロファイラーはこっちの白石だ。
No, Enomoto, she's the profile.
ずいぶん鈍い子だね。俺と柳くんの会話で察せないなんて。
You're pretty slow on the uptake. You couldn't tell from our conversation.
すみません。
Ah, oops, sorry.
俺は白石景之、警視庁の科捜研所属。今は新宿署で機動捜査支援係の主任やってます。
Kagayuki Shirashi from HQ Crime Lab. I'm currently heading up field ops support.
X デー事件が複雑になってきてから新宿署に出向したから、君とは会ったことなかったね。
After the X-Day cases grew complicated, I was transferred to Shinjuku, and that's when I met you.
白石は覚えなさそうだからな。
I don't think Shirashi would remember him.
名前なんだっけ？あ、えのきくん？
What was your name? Enoki, was it?
あ、榎本っす。さっき柳先輩が呼んだばっかですよね。
What? I'm Enomoto. Yanagi even said my name earlier.
そうだったっ
け？ Huh. Did he now?
うわ、もしかして人の話聞いてない系？まあいいや。よろしくお願いします。
Is this guy the type to just ignore what people say? Oh, never mind. Nice to meet you.
俺は榎本峰夫。元は新宿署の第二機動捜査隊にいました。
I'm Minio Enomoto, formerly of Field Ops Team 2 at Shinjuku Station.
俺プロファイラーに会うの初めてなんですよ。ちょっと観察しただけで相手のことが何でも分かっちゃって。
This is my first time meeting a profiler. Can you guys really tell everything about the bad guys just by observing them? Enomoto was a bit starstruck by Shirashi. I'd lost count of the times I'd seen this. I heaved a sigh. Profilers were psychological analysts, not mind readers.
面白いこと言うね。
That's funny. He faced Enomoto's misconception head on. Shirashi laughed as if enjoying
プ
himself.
ロファイラーって職業を勘違いしてるみたいだけど、でも、そうだな。
You seem to be misunderstanding what a profiler's job is, but sure, let's go with that.
何でもわかるよ。特に君みたいな子が相手ならね。
I can size someone up and know everything. That's especially true when it comes to kid like you. For real?
俺に隠し事はできないと思った方がいいかもしれないね。
You should basically just assume that you can't hide anything from me.
なんでもってどこまで？
Everything? Really? Like what?
今日の君の朝食は白米と魚だったでしょ。
You had rice and fish for breakfast today, didn't you?
なんでわかったんすか？
How did you know? Anyone could know this by looking at him. Enomoto didn't appear to have noticed, but there was rice on his shirt collar. It wasn't dried out, so it must have fallen there pretty recently. Fish was probably an educated guess. Fish was a standard complement to white rice for breakfast. He probably played the odds. Not to take anything away from how quickly Shirashi has figured out Enomoto out.
で、土方歳三が好きなんだね。
I imagine you're a fan of Toshio Hijikata?
なんで？
How? Enomoto was currently in front of his desk. In a corner of his somewhat sloppy arranged desk laid several books. All of their titles had Toshio Hijikata or Shinsengumi in them.
見ればわかるな。
That's obvious from looking too. Still, to notice this so quickly, Shirashi was undoubtedly very skilled at his
あ
job.
と、そこの本棚に隠してるやつは隠し場所変えた方がいいよ。
Also, you should find a new hiding spot for that stuff you're hiding in your bookcase. Wha- ah! When he violently spun to check his bookcase, Enomoto stubbed his foot on his chair. His expression and the way his eyes locked on the shelves completely gave away his stash. Shidashi started chuckling at Enomoto's transparent reactions.
そうか。いかがわしい本か。
I see. A fan of indecent publications, huh?
なんでわかんの？きょえー。プロファイラーすげえ。つが怖え。
How did you know that? Profiles are amazing and scary. He didn't even need to express how much he enjoyed Enomoto's sincere surprise and awe.
バカにされていることに気づいてないな。
Enomoto, you don't even know when you're being mocked. I felt a little sorry for him, but I didn't want to drag this out. Sasuke had stayed quiet during all of
白
this.
石も榎本もそれくらいにしとけ。それで、さっき榎本が間違えた方が。
Shidashi and Enomoto, let's stop there. By the way, Enomoto, you were?
絶望的なバカだな。
What a hopeless idiot.
おやおや。
Now. It was too late. Sasuke practically spat all the words out.
無理。白石さん。悪いけどこんなバカと一緒に捜査とか絶対無理だ。
Impossible. Sorry, Shidashi. There's no way I can work alongside a fool like this.
まあまあ落ち着いて。
Now calm down.
落ち着けるかい。バカの近くにいるとこっちまでバカになる。
Like I can do that. I might contract his stupidity if he gets any
てか
closer.
どんだけバカなんだこいつ。信じらんね。
How dumb can you be? I saw it and I literally can't believe it.
おい、さっきから何バカ連呼って、もしかしてバカって俺のことかよ。
Hey, you keep saying these things. Wait, are you talking about me?
反応
Enomoto.
が遅い。
I didn't say that out loud. I knew this was only going to get worse.
そうに決まってんだろ。他に誰がいる。そんなこともわからねえくらいバカなのか、お前。
Who the hell did you think I meant? Are you honestly so stupid you didn't get that? What?
は想定外のバカだな。バカ選手権があったら優勝できるぞ。よかったな。
You're far dumber than I even imagined. If there was an idiot Olympics, you'd win.
なんだよお前。人のことバカって言う方がバカだっつの。だいたいワカメみたいな頭しやがって。
What the hell, man? I'm the moron? Take a look at yourself, fool. You thought the seaweed head was a good look?
えのきとわかめ。いい組み合わせかも。
Enoki and seaweed, that might go well together. Nicknames for Enomoto and Tekeru, respectively. Enoki is a type of mushroom which is commonly used in miso soup, as is seaweed. Thus, Shidashi has secretly dubbed them both Miso Soup Duo.
それ、お前がバカなこととは全然関係ない。そもそも、白石さんがお前のことバカにしたの、本気で分かってねえの。
This has nothing to do with you. Seriously, you didn't even know that Shidashi was making fun of you this whole time?
はあ？なんだよそれ。さっきのはプロファイリングってやつだろ？
What are you talking about? He was profiling me earlier, wasn't he?
バカの上に恥の上塗りかよ。あれはプロファイリングなんかじゃねえ。素人でもわかる観察結果だ。
It's just layering of stupid with you. That wasn't profiling. That was just simple observation that anyone could pull off.
素人って。
プロファイラー
Observation.
じゃない俺にだってそれくらいわかる。お前よくそんなんで警察入れたな。
I'm not even a profiler, and I knew all of that already. It's plain as day. How did you even get into the police force?
おい、そりゃどういう意味だよ。喧嘩売ってんのか？売ってるよな。
What's that supposed to mean? You trying to start a fight? You want to go?
そこまで。
Enough. I had to put all this to a stop. I couldn't let them go on any longer. At least I understood one thing. These two would not get along.
柳先輩、だってこいつ。
Yanagi, this jerk.
自己紹介すら済んでないうちから喧嘩はやめてくれ。改めて、笹塚。
We haven't even finished introductions and you're already fighting, so
俺は
Salika.
柳愛知。元は警視庁捜査一課にいた。お前の自己紹介も頼む。
I'm Aiji Yanagi, former of Section 1. I'd like to properly introduce myself as
どう
well.
せ知ってるんで。じゃなくて、俺まだ協力するかどうか決めてないんだけど。
You already know who I am. Rather, I mean, I haven't decided whether I'll be helping you.
つかこんなのがいるんじゃ無理だ。やってられね
It's not going to work if this guy is here. We'll get nowhere. Of course, Sasaka's glare was directed squarely at Enomoto.
俺かよ
Me?
え。だから他に誰がいるってんだ。
Like I said, who else could it be?
でもいいのかな。柳くんたちに協力してくれないなら情報はあげないよ。
Are you sure you don't want to team up? If Yanagi's team doesn't get work with us, then you won't get any new intel.
別にそれならそれで。
I mean, it's not like that's a separate issue. From the way Sasaka stumbled, I sensed that he had come here as part of some deal he made with Shidashi.
だが警察内部の情報を横流しする約束か何かだろうな。
Maybe he promised to leak him information from this police force. Shidashi currently working for the police, but he wasn't particularly loyal to the job. He'd be fired or worse if he was caught, but Shidashi's values were his own gain above all. Whatever Sasaka worked on with Shidashi wasn't important right now, but I had something I wanted to say.
俺と榎本、それから白石も、今この新宿で起こっている X デー事件を調査するためにここにいる。
That's a weird cut. Sasaka, Enomoto and I are here because we're investigating the X-Day crimes happening in
全
Shinjuku.
員目的は微妙に違うが、事件に対する熱意は本物だ。
All of our goals might be slightly different, but our determination to solve them is
警
real.
察を抜けて独自で動いたとして、得られるものに限界があることは当然分かっている。
You know as well as I do that there's only so much you can accomplish investigating this on your own after you cut ties with the
それでも
police.
今はできることをしたい。そのためには努力も手間も惜しまない。
But we want to do what we can. We'll leave no stone unturned in our efforts.
俺は単純に謎を解きたいからだけど、謎が解ければ事件は解決するわけだし。
I just like solving mysteries, but solving these mysteries should also stop the
だ
crimes.
から熱意はちゃんと本物だよ。
My passion for the job is plenty genuine, FYI.
うわうさんくさいな
Mwah. That's so fishy.
失礼だな。何を犠牲にしてもいいって思ってるくらいには本気なんだけど。
How rude. I'm serious about my intent to solve this at any
いや
cost.
それはそれでどうかと思いますけど
I wonder about that.
てか白石さんは現役なのに俺たちに協力してマジで平気なんですか
You're still working for the police. Are you sure you're okay with helping us out?
問題ないよ。バレないようにうまくやるし。バレても君たちに脅されたとか言えばいいし。
What's the problem? I'm good enough to not get caught, and even if I did, you'll go down with
俺
me.
たちを売る気満々じゃねえか
Sir, are you planning to sell us out?
それは脇に置いておくとして。
Ha! Let's back burner that question.
置いといちゃダメだろこの人が柳先輩の友人ってマジかよ
Can't really put that on hold. Is this guy really your friend, Yanagi?
で、えのきくんはどうしてここで X デー事件を調べてる
So
の
what about you, Enoki? Why are you looking into the X-Day cases?
えのきじゃねえ榎本です
It's not Enoki, it's
と
Enomoto.
りあえずそれもあっちに置いといて。
And yet another topic I think we can shelve.
人の名前まで置いとくなよ
This is my name.
で、
So,
俺が事件を追ってるのは
I'm pursuing the X-Day incidents because
X 大事件がどうして起きたのか知りた
I
いだけです
just really want to know why they happened.
どうして起きたか。
Why they happened. I thought I noticed Shidashi's expression, actually becoming serious for a moment when he heard Enomoto's
X
reply.
大事件は警察の怠慢が引き起こしたんじゃないかって言われてるの知ってますよね
You know that people are saying that the police negligence is the main reason behind the X-Day killings,
警
right?
察が抱えた闇とかずさんな体制が全ての原因だって
They are saying that it's all because the police have gone bad or because they're incompetent.
俺はそれが本当かどうか知りたいんです警察の存在が事件を起こさせたのかどうか
I don't think that's the whole story. The police caused all of this by existing. I doubt it.
うん
I couldn't tell why exactly, but Shidashi was fixated on Enomoto's facial expression. Sasaka, who had been verbally thrashing Enomoto's moments ago, didn't say a word.
X デー事件の犯人側がカウントダウンを始めたのは今年の4月だ。
The countdown initiated by the X Day perpetrators started in April of this
カウント
year.
ダウン開始時の数字は9。世間も警察も1月には何かが起こるという見解でいる。
Ooh, yawning. It began at the number 9. Both the public and the police believe that something will happen in January.
今までの事件よりももっと規模の大きいものがな。
Something much larger in scale than the events that have occurred
す
so
でに
far.
10月だ。もうあまり時間は残されていない。
It's already October. We don't have much time
組
left.
織を抜けた以上、警察には頼れない。俺たちには協力者が必要なんだ。
Since we're out, we can't count on the police. We need collaborators. Shidashi worked for the police, but he was the only exception. We couldn't count on the police. Conversely, it meant that we couldn't trust the police. There were many factors that made it impossible for us to rule out the possibility of a mole inside the
笹塚
police.
お前は群れるタイプじゃなさそうだが、それでも白石の誘いに乗ってここまで来た。
Sasaka, you don't seem like a people person to me, but you accepted Shidashi's
それに
invitation.
はそれなりの理由があるんだろう。
Would you mind telling us why?
俺は X デイ事件に興味はない。
I have no interest in the X Day incidents. Then, after a brief but awkward silence, he
厳密に言
continued.
えば犯人が誰かもどうでもいい。
Honestly, I don't even care who the criminals are.
相変わらず言葉を選ばないね。
You never mince words.
おいお前
Hey,
なん
you!
だ
Anamoto.
でも X デイ事件に興味ないとか俺たちと目的が違うってことじゃないですか。
If he doesn't care about solving X Day, does that mean he won't be cooperating with
そ
us?
んな奴に協力してもらう必要あんの？
Why would you work with someone like that? You're not even helping Anamoto.
まだ話の途中だ。
He hasn't finished yet, I think. I was taken aback, but it was too early to judge. Shidashi just kept smiling. He had probably known this from the start. There was some significance in Shidashi bringing Sasuke here.
俺の目的はこの新宿を元に戻すこと。
My objective is to return Shinjuku to
た
normal.
だそれだけだ。そのために X デイ事件を捜査する。
That's
犯
all.
人逮捕だとかは二の次だ。
To do that, I need to solve X Day. Arresting the criminals is secondary to that. Neither his expression or his words gave me any reason to doubt his sincerity. This was Sasuke's real intent, his honest objective. In other words,
新宿区の封鎖を解きたいのか。
so you want to end Shinjuku's quarantine? I felt like something was a bit off about my theory. Ooh, my throat.
いや、違う。正しくは。
No, that's not right. He actually. Then I remembered that sharp glare of his when he first entered. It was hostility directed at something.
そうか。銃刀法を復活させたいんだな。
Ah, the swords and firearm control law. He didn't say a word. How'd you know? Sasuke's eyes widened in surprise. It seemed that I hit the nail on
お
the
前
head.
がこの部屋に入ってきた時に少し引っかかったんだ。
You paused for a moment when you entered this
俺と
room.
榎本を見て一瞬だが表情が変わった。苦々しいというか。
Your expression changed when you
変
saw
な
us.
視線だ。
It was loathing or rather
よく
disgust.
よく考えれば、お前の視線の先にはホルスターがあった。銃が嫌いなら、そういう目的でも不思議はない。
I thought about it and realized that you were looking at our holsters. If you hate guns, then that would be a sensible objective.
なるほど。ここにバカは一人しかいないみたいだな。
I see. I'm glad there's only one moron in this room. Sasuke sneered, but I could tell from his eyes that the scorn had given away way too calm. What? I could tell from his eyes that the scorn had given way to calm eyes.
わかった。俺は笹塚健。ハッキングが得意。以上。
Whew. All right, I'm Takeru Sasuke. I'm good at hacking. That's all. At any rate, he was willing to help now. At least half of his motivation was the intel Shidashi was offering, but I didn't mind.
これからだ。よろしく頼む。
I look forward to working with you. I softened my expression and extended my hand to shake. Sasuke looked at my hand and then closely at my face.
そういえば、柳さん、 あんたの目的は？
That reminds me, Yanagi, what's your objective?
白石さんとそこのバカの目的はなんとなく分かったけど。
I basically understand what Shidashi and that idiot
あ
want.
んたはどうして X-ray 事件を捜査するんだ？
So what reason do you have for investigating the X-Day case? He cut straight to the heart of the matter. For a short moment, my thoughts stopped. December 5th.
あんたはどうして X...
It's been a month,
ど
bro.
うしてか。
No reason, huh? It had already been 2 months since that day Sasaka first walked into the office. Back then, I couldn't respond right away. I remember replying that I couldn't condone terror and that I still had my convictions, things like
それ
that.
は間違いなく本音だ。事件を解決したい。
Those were definitely my true feelings.
被
I
害を減らしたい。
keep kicking my desk. I want to solve this and to stop all the pain I can. Right now, Shinjuku wasn't normal. All semblance of normality had vanished. I wanted to take it back. I wanted to protect those who couldn't sleep. Those feelings weren't a lie. They couldn't be. But I couldn't escape a thought that I'd buried. In the end, there's my soda can over there. I just got confused. 1 second, I'm going to move it. I restocked my mini fridge yesterday. I just forgot to take the box out. Maybe what I wanted was just validation for myself. Sometimes I forget I'm on
柳さんおは
not
よ
a
う
PlayStation.
朝ごはんの買い出し
Good morning, Yanagi. Heading out for
ああ
breakfast.
おい。おい
Yeah, more. Hey.
Hmm?
Yes. I'd been lost in my thoughts, so I accidentally answered him normally. But that wasn't right. That wasn't how I should treat the man standing before me.
お前、昨日の夜からずっとここにいたのか。
Okazaki, were you just standing around for the entire night?
うんあ俺もお腹空いちゃったな一緒に朝ごはん食べてもいい
Boy, am I sorry. Mind if I join you for
いいわけ
breakfast?
ないだろ
Of course I mind.
なんで
Why?
何度も言うが、俺たちはお前に守ってもらう必要ない。
How many times did I tell you we don't need
心
protection?
配しなくても吉成君と交代でちゃんと休憩取ってるよ
Oh, you don't need to worry about me. I rotate with Yoshinari, so I get plenty of rest.
お前の心配は一切してない。
I'm not the least bit worried about you.
へえ
Aww. This back and forth was giving me a headache. There wasn't a hint of tension on his absent-minded face. This odd man was an SP officer assigned to us by the police. His name was Kai Okazaki. Of course, he was our bodyguard in name only. Someone in the police station just wanted to keep tabs on us.
怪しまれない方がおかしいが。
It'd be odd if they didn't suspect us. Anyway, Shidashi still worked for the police. Sasaka had quit the force just recently. Even Enomoto had worked his way into the field ops team unusually quickly. I'm formally from Investigation Section 1. Our little team was bound to get noticed.
SP がつくのは腑に落ちないが。
But assigning SP to us doesn't make sense. SP's original mission was VIP protection. With all the chaos, there's gotta be far more important people to protect. No matter how much they suspected us, this wasn't something SP was typically tasked with.
なら公安でも巡回ついでの生活安全課でも。
Surveillance would be public security's job, and patrols are public security's domain. Public security officers of the Metropolitan Police Department, whose duties mostly involve the maintenance of law and order by investigating and enforcing the law of terror and foreign spies.
柳さんどうしたの俺の顔なんかついてる
What's wrong, Yanagi? Do I have something on my face?
いや、相変わらず顔だけはぼんやりしてるなと思っただけだ。
No, I was just thinking about how spaced out you look as usual.
そう大丈夫顔はボケててもちゃんと任務は果たすよ
Really? It's okay. I'll fulfill my mission regardless of whether I look that way. Sigh. The way he deflected everything with his odd reactions made him difficult to deal with. Okazaki, I didn't usually engage in conversation. Shidashi was troublesome in a different way. He was unafflicted by my hostility towards him. I couldn't let my guard slip around him. The only option I had left was retreat.
中に入っていいの？
Can I come inside?
誰がそんなこと言った？警護なんて必要ない。さっさと帰れ。
Did I say you could? We don't need your protection. Get lost.
柳さん、相変わらず釣れないな。
Yanagi, you're always so cold. Okazaki.
わかりました。おとなしく外で待機してます。
Fine, fine. I get it. I'll just patiently wait outside. He stubbornly refused to leave. He had an inordinate amount of patience. Leaving the flippant Okazaki behind, I entered the office. I closed the door and looked around. 3 people were inside. Anamoto, who was typically here, Sasaka, and
白石
Shirashi.
柳くん、待ってたよ。
We've been waiting for you, Yanagi. Shirashi's post was at Shinjuku Station. He worked with us, but he didn't come by much. But here he was, early in the morning, and he was smiling, which gave me pause. It looked like his typical bemused grin, but it appeared to be stronger today.
緊張している。あの白石が。
Is he nervous? I wouldn't expect that from Shirashi. It was the only way to describe it, though. Something was off that didn't feel right.
あっちから接触してくれるとはな。
Who'd have thought that they'd make
どういう
contact?
ことだ？何が起こった？
What do you mean, what happened?
怒ったっつうか。
Nothing actually happened, just...
これを見てもらった方が早いね。
It'd be faster if you looked at this. With that, Shidashi handed me an unsealed envelope. The envelope seal was oh my gosh. I've never been told this flower's name before. Enamine flower. The flower was the symbol of Adonis. There was also a letter inside the envelope. It read, as part of the countdown to X Day, a woman will be killed by poison in Shinjuku Garden on December 6th, midnight. Why was I pursuing X Day? I still didn't have an answer to that question that I honestly believed. But I couldn't afford to let this go.
あんな思いはしたくない。
I don't want to have those feelings anymore. I had to become stronger, strong enough to prevent any more sorrow. I wanted to protect whomever I possibly could. That's all I believed. Is she here? Oh, he also has PTSD. You! My breath stuck in my throat. It felt like my throat was seized up. At the indicated spot, there was a woman lying on the ground surrounded by red flowers. It was exactly like the nightmare I once had. I wonder how much time has passed. Despite my entreaties, the caller was silent. My body was still paralyzed, and worse, I felt it getting harder and harder to breathe. They said it wasn't a lethal dose, but I don't know if that's true. At this rate, if nobody finds me soon... As that thought suddenly crossed my mind, my vision grew dark. I'm scared. Somebody help me.
お前
You, there.
おい、しっかりしろ。
Keep it together. Somebody found me. Perhaps I would be saved. While clinging on to that shred of hope, I looked at the man in front of me. Who are you?
無理に喋るな。俺はお前を探していたんだ。
Don't force yourself to talk. I've been looking for you. Me?
お前の状況は把握してる。心細かっただろうが、もう大丈夫だ。
We know what happened to you. Hang in there. Everything will be
大
okay.
丈夫だ。絶対に助ける。
It'll be alright. We got you. He's not looking at me. Once I heard those words, my crippling terror began to subside a bit. However, some doubt stubbornly remained. They were looking for me and they know what's happened to me. How did they know? How did they know I was here? After having that realization, my would-be savior suddenly seemed much more frightening.
怖いか。
Are you afraid of me? He must have sensed a change in my expression. The man looked at me and then...
あの時と同じだ。
This is just like that other time. He seemed kind of sad as he mumbled that, so I couldn't take my eyes off of him. Okay, I was gonna say, is this the same now? Are we all up to speed? I'm like, I don't need to go through this part if I've seen it before. They found her, they put the thing in. I mean, this looks like it's now back to the normal stuff. I'm more confused. Yeah, this is normal. This is common route now. Don't report it or you'll die. Do you want to die? Do you want to die, little girl? And the answer is no. Seiki, I love you so much, you evil bastard. Okay. Let's see. Lie. Ooh, actually, I don't know. Do I need to do the right options? I don't even... I didn't pay attention to this, actually. I don't know if you choose Yanagi, if you can end up with Yanagi a specific way. But I'm gonna find out. See, this is why they need to skip to next option. Like, I could be at the next question right now, instead of watching them talk about the same thing again for the 14th time. So angry, my little angry boy, whom I love and wish only happiness for. And then there's Shidashi, who's terrible. And then there's Okazaki, who honestly, he's just a nice little bean. Just a sweet little bean, really. I mean, he do deserve the world. Let's see, I don't know. Did I mess up? I might be messing up right now. My widow brother, Okazaki's stalking me, falling asleep on me. Seiki, the man after my heart, that isn't allowed to have my heart. Just so sad. Those two fighting. I understand. You suck. All of this is the same. When does Yanagi tell me he wants to fall in love with me? What the heck? Okazaki takes me home. I ask him what's it like to be an SP officer. And then, I go home and Kazuki's mad. Akito's there, that little murderer. The guy whose dad's a politician, if I remember correctly. Whew! I studied the overview of the X-Day crime in detail, heaving a sigh when I finished. That's a pretty massive overview. Again, I was struck by the crime's complexity. The people who put this collar on me told me to investigate X-Day. I had no idea why they'd make such a request. They sent notices to Yanagi's group and want me to work with them, that much I know. But what was the point? What could we find out that the police hadn't already uncovered? I don't feel like I'll be much help there. After all, I was still a rookie. I had yet completed my first year on the job. Yanagi's team investigation was both giving in their all just to glean basic detail. Yet we don't even know what the criminals want. Hey. Their goal? Right, their goal. The ghastliness and the confounding nature of the X-Day killing was bewildering, but they were isolated incidents. How have I been? I've been so sleepy. But aside from that, fine. How about you? There was an organized series of crimes. Whether or not there were multiple criminals, the crimes all had to have common goals. There are vague theories about Adonis being anti-government or attempting a coup, but it didn't feel like it was something that's simple to do. Let go from work, hurt your elbow, you know, this fun stuff. None of that sounds fun. What the heck? I mean, I understand the hurting your elbow. I do that daily. I just bump into things. But the let go from work, what? I didn't feel like it was something that simple for me. All the crimes have been part of a countdown. These crimes were the setup moves that were leading up to the checkmate, which is X-Day. In other words, the moves wouldn't make sense without knowing their underlying motives. I need to collect my thoughts a bit more. I was confused from thinking about all the previous incidents at once. Unless I approached this from a different angle, I had overlooked something important. While I was deep in thought, my phone beeped. It's Yanagi. Did you make it home safely? It was a text from Yanagi. That's right, we did exchange contact information. Is he worried about me? Let's see. Fluid built up in your elbow. And you were just out of training at work and they told you that you weren't doing things right. Okay, the fluid's not, okay, that's not the kind of pain I go through. I more like bump into everything and end up with like 10,000 bruises. Complaints on me. Okay. Well, I don't appreciate the second part. That's not, I mean, I don't appreciate either. Let me phrase that right. I don't appreciate you being hurt, and I don't feel like that's fair. I know where I work, they're being a little more strict on new hires than they used to be. So I don't know if that's going for other companies as well. They might be doing the same thing because they put out a memo basically saying, hey, it's a trial. Felt like the job was stupid. Wasted. Wasn't trained right and found for a while. I feel like a lot of companies are doing that lately. I feel like it's happening everywhere where like you don't have enough time to train. Ooh, my voice is cracking. Hang on. Where you're not given enough time to train and they just expect you to get it right away, and I don't appreciate it. So I'm sorry to hear that. That thought put a little bit of warmth into my heart. Oh, that didn't sound right. All right, it's all right. Nothing worth mentioning happened. Did Okazaki say anything? Okazaki? They must be really wary of leaking intel to him. I didn't tell him about the collar. Okazaki seems to know a lot about all of you in the office, though. What did he say? He said that you're definitely the father of everyone at the office. I typed out a message as I recalled that Okazaki said in our conversation. I stopped short of sending the message. He must be really worried about something. You can barely move your arm and you have to go to the ER because you're in so much pain. Like right now? Go now. Oh, had to. Sorry. I did past tense, present tense. Yeah, no. You went on Wednesday. Well, I'm sorry. That's not fun. But was everything else okay? Because you've been having a lot of fun lately. A lot of fun. I could imagine it. Okazaki acted differently than most people, and part of him that was pretty disarming. Okazaki acted differently than most people, and part of him that was pretty disarming. That seems like a weird sentence. Am I getting a phone call? Crying in Rexray because they were trying to put it in a position you could not do. I don't. That's a lot. That's a lot. I'm very sorry. Is it getting better at all? Like, oof, I can't. He replied. I was a little excited to see how Yanagi would react to my message. Were you? I'm not nearly old enough to have 3 sons in their 20s. Why? I couldn't help but chuckle at his overly serious reply. I think he means that you're reliable. I honestly can't tell with that guy. He certainly is mysterious. He looks dull, but he's pretty sharp. Don't let your guard down around him. Got it, I'll be careful. I couldn't let Okazaki know about the caller. I also couldn't let the fact that I was trying to investigate X day slip. I made a mental reminder to stay vigilant, and then I recalled something. It felt like the text exchange was over. Yanagi made no further replies. Come to think of it, Yanagi said he was investigating the X day crime as a whole. In that case, Yanagi might have some insight about the entire series of incidents. Can I ask you a few things? What's up? Man, he's really quick to reply. What a guy. You're going to PT for follow-up from the hospital. Back problems trainer will help get function back in your arm, but still can't fully straighten your arm or turn your palm. Well, I'm good that you're going. It's good that you're getting physical therapy. That's good. I don't know. I mean, that sucks. What sucks is like physical therapy takes a long time too sometimes. At least when I was doing it for my knee, like it took 3 months before I could like stand up on my own without support. Like, are they doing anything about the fluids, or is it just physical therapy that they're telling you to get? I gulped and typed out the text. What do you think Adonis's overall goal for the X-Day crimes is? Adonis claimed they meant to rescue society. If they were just committing indiscriminate murders, that wouldn't really make sense. These crimes definitely had a purpose much larger than simply killing people. Just ice and a sling and you're out. No, you need something for pain. If you're literally saying that you were crying because of the X-ray, and that's not... I'm not a doctor. I don't know. In my brain, I'm like, shouldn't they lance it? But then I'm like, is that better or worse? These crimes definitely had a purpose much larger than simply killing people. There was no need to go to such ridiculous lengths just to commit mass murder. After a short while, the reply came. Revenge. Revenge. The word had a profound weight to it, but before I could try and put that piece together, my phone began again. Can you meet up right now? Huh? I wasn't expecting that response. My train of thought was derailed and I just stared at my phone screen. Told you to take ibuprofen and Tylenol. They gave you oxycodone in the air and it did nothing? That's terrible because oxycodone puts me to sleep and I feel like I'm flying. I haven't had that since like I had my wisdom teeth removed, so that's intense. That's crazy. Well, that sounds terrible and I'm really sorry.
悪いな。帰ったばかりなのに呼び出して。
Feels like you're having like a problem after problem. That sucks. I'm so sorry about that. Sorry to call you out right after you got home. I should apologize for making you come all the way out here.
いや、
Is this outside your
Sorry,
house? This is not your house.
俺の勝手に付き合わせているわけだしな。
That's not a big deal. I'm the one who told you to go out again.
少しお前と話したいことがあるんだ。
There's something I wanted to discuss. Yanagi turned and started walking. Where are we going? I followed him puzzled.
お前も疲れてるだろう。いろいろあったからな。
You must be tired. You've been through a lot. Are you telling me to go to bed? Because I was at
誰か
home.
もわからない奴に首輪なんてつけられて、知らない男たちに囲まれて。
Sis is good. She's just working. Just working and having a nice time. She got a promotion. I don't know if I told you that. But she's got a new position now. She's salary. Just like, so she's the fanciest person in the house. And the kid is currently on summer break and he is just getting really restless because he's bored. You have no idea who put that collar on you and you're now surrounded by strangers who doubt
それ
you.
ならもっと取り乱したっておかしくない。
I know, she's an adult. It's not fair. Nobody expects you to stay calm through it all. His grumbled words expressed a moderate display of concern for my well-being. It made me a little happy. I realized that he'd always been like this. Yanagi never acted like he suspected me. Instead, he treated me like I was a victim. I'm okay. I'm a police officer after all. So I had to make it clear to him. If I was a lay person, I might have just cooped myself up at home and cried. You can do both. You've been off since Tuesday and you're already done. Kind of where the kid's at. By the time night falls, he's so bored because he's just been home all day. It's not like we have much else going on, but we told him we're going to try and do something before the end of summer break. School, I think, starts at the beginning of August. But that wasn't a luxury afforded to me. If I lose control here, I wouldn't be worthy of wearing the badge.
そうか。
It's okay.
お前にはちゃんと覚悟がある。
That had parentheses around it. That indicates that it's an impersonal thought, not an outside thought. So how is he responding to my inside thoughts? I see you've got a lot of grit. Yanagi glanced over at me, his expression
お前の
softening.
覚悟も知らずに、普通なんて型にはめたことを言って悪かった。
It was wrong of me to assume that about you without knowing how you felt. Please don't apologize. I know I don't have any choice but to push on, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared. It's true that this situation is chaotic, and I can understand why Sasuke and the others would suspect me. But there's something that I haven't figured out. What is it? You don't really seem to doubt me. Maybe he didn't internally, but he showed no outward signs of it. Sasuke stated that I might be tied to the criminals, but Yanagi had defended me. In my opinion, Sasuke and Enomoto are the ones acting more normally. Objectively, I was the most suspicious person. My only claim to innocence was my words. Yanagi didn't say anything. I knew he wasn't ignoring me. He seemed to be deep in thought. Oh, we're here. Why did you go all the way back here? The now silent Yanagi and I had now arrived at the detective office.
今、事務所には誰もいない。全員出払ってるから遠慮するな。
I can't imagine that Enomoto goes out at night. Nobody's here at this hour. Everyone's out, so feel free to speak your mind. Right. He said that, but for some reason, Yanagi went upstairs without entering the office. We're going to the roof. Wait for me. This is beautiful. It's not. It's okay. He took me up to the rooftop of the detective office. There was a sweeping nighttime view of the city, now seethed in silence.
迷った時に、ここへ来ると落ち着くんだ。
Whenever something's bothering me, I've come up here to relax. I could feel a sadness in his voice. Without thinking, I looked at Yanagi, who was gazing at me as he talked. Yanagi? When I was sad, when I saw the sad look on his face, I was reminded of our first meeting. I remembered when he picked me up while I was paralyzed by the poison.
俺が怖いか
Are you
こ
afraid
の
of
ざまで
me? Yeah, yeah. Right now, I feel that Yanagi's eyes had the same uncertain look as they did before. When we met again at his office, he seemed more calm and reticent. Reticent? We're going with reticent. I saw no hesitation in those eyes. Why do you look so sad? Yanagi's eyes went wide.
悲しい
Sad? With a small sigh, Yanagi approached and stood next to me.
お前は俺を覚えてないか
What? You don't remember me, do you? Oh my god, does he remember the other storylines? Huh? Is he saying that we've met somewhere else before? Yanagi was an ex-police officer, but I haven't worked long enough to have met him. Even if he had been investigations, we wouldn't have had been introduced. Did I pass him somewhere? I think I remember someone like him. I racked my brain and had no memory of him, but if we had actually met before, then I'd been terribly rude to him. I'm sorry, have we met before? Yanagi grinned bitterly at my timidly asked question.
いやなんでもない気にしないでくれこれじゃ下手なナンパみたいだな
Mm. Are we members of Adonis and I don't know it, bro? Never mind, don't worry about it. It was just my clumsy way of hitting on you.
その
Okay.
あれだ榎本が持ってる本を読んでみたんだが
Alright, I tried reading Enomoto's stupid
知
book.
り合ったばかりの女性と会話するときはまずそう切り出せと書いてあってなだから試してみただけだ
I don't believe you, Yanagi. I said that it said that it was a good opening, like to break the ice with a girl you just met, so I decided to give it a shot. I see. Of course I knew he was lying. Even though I didn't remember it, I was pretty sure that Yanagi and I had met before. I suppose I shouldn't pry any further. Something about the mood told me not to press. In an attempt to break the awkward tension, I deliberately sounded cheerful. The book Enomoto has, right? Okazaki mentioned it. 1,000 heart-jerking love confessions, right?
ああそんな名前だったなというか岡崎はなんで知ってるんだ
Oh yeah, that's its name. Shouldn't he know that? I just didn't think that you'd need to use something like that. He's
俺もそう
smiling. You and me both. I felt a ooh, let's get a phone call or a text message. Drum roll. Text message, but it's a TikTok. We'll wait for that one. I felt a great relief as he broke into a smile and laughed. Have we met before? Did you call me out here just because you wanted to ask me that?
一応それもあるがどちらかといえばお前がメールで聞いてきたことの方が気になってな
For starters, but I also was curious about the text you sent me about the goal of X Day. You said you thought it was revenge. That means.
星野お前はどう思う
What do you think, Hoshino? Yanagi looked straight into
お
my
前も知っ
eyes.
ての通り X デイ事件は連続凶悪犯罪だ
As you know, the X Day incident is a series of
一
crimes.
つ一つの事件が複雑でそれぞれ単独犯のようにも見えるが全体を動かしている奴が必ずいる
Each murder has been taken complicated planning, and they all seem disconnected, but someone is obviously orchestrating them all.
俺はそう踏んでいるだからおそらく個々の事件を捜査しても大きな進展は見られない
I've been working under that assumption. It's likely that investigating them individually won't yield many
今まで
results.
に起こっている多くの事件は一体誰が何のために何を
Who is
望んで起こしていると
sorry, Yanagi. Who is responsible for so many murders and why? And what are they trying to achieve by doing this?
別にお前を試そうとしているわけじゃないだがこれから X デイ事件捜査に向かって協力していく者同士だ
I'm not trying to test you on this, but we are going to be working together from now
でき
on.
ればお前の考えを聞かせてほしい。
If you don't mind, I'd like to hear your take. I'd like to hear how we know each other. Did we date? Did we date before? Yanagi, are we past lovers and I don't know because Adonis like wiped my memory of it? Yanagi's question resembled the doubts that I had when I was reading about the cases.
どうしたの？
But what? Are you sure? I softly touched my right hand to my collar. Yanagi would probably
あ
notice.
あ、それは気にしなくていい。
Don't worry about that.
X デイ事件の真実を知れと言ったのは他でもないそいつだ。
The ones who told us to find the truth of X Day are the same people
聞
responsible.
かれて困る内容じゃないのは確かだろう。
They definitely wouldn't consider this detrimental. You're right. In fact, it was what the criminals wanted. That was the conclusion I'd arrived at while thinking about X Day. Then first we should
そうだな。今分かってる範囲での一連の X デイ事件の共通点は？
what are the common factor that runs through all of the X Day crimes? I thought back to the incident summary. Common factor that runs through all of them. Roman numeral and a coin. A Roman numeral and coin, right? These items have been found at each of the crime scenes.
X デイ事件の象徴とも言えるな。
That's true. You call them the X Day
現場
calling
に残され
card.
るコインは模造できない精巧な作りをしている。
The coins are very intricately made, so they'd be very difficult to counterfeit.
模倣犯であればすぐに判明するというわけだ。
If there were any copycat criminals trying to exploit the chaos, we'd know for sure. The thoroughness of the crime suggests that even if the perps are different each time, they're directed by the
何らかの
organization
目的のために。
and for some unknown goal. Yes, Adonis makes announcements each time, and they've all had a common theme.
じゃあ、そのアドニスが表向きに掲げている目的は何だ？
Then what would you say is Adonis's purported goal for these crimes? It would have been in the first announcement. It would have been the first announcement. So to revive Japan is the goal. However, they are doing it by blaming the police. I feel like either fit.
汚れた日本を再生するためこれより X デイ
Yep. I recalled Adonis's first declaration. I couldn't forget the words even if I tried. To restore tainted Japan.
ああ、つまり、奴らは奴らなりの正義で動いているということになる。
In other words, they're acting out their own interpretation of
それは
justice.
世論に受け入れられるかどうかはともかくな。
Whether the world accepts it as such is an entirely different question, though. At times, justice could be a blade of evil. With what justice means to one person doesn't necessarily hold true for another. Some concept of justice would always exist.
じゃあ、彼らにとっての悪とは何だと思う？
Then what do you find to be evil? That was also something that would exist so long as there were people in the world. But what was evil to Adonis? The simplest interpretation would be that they thought the people who were killed were evildoers.
ターゲットが不幸な偶然で選ばれたのではなく、動機のある殺人だ。
Yes, that the targets weren't random or chosen out of circumstances, but were specifically
X デイ事件の
chosen.
被害者は全員、アドニスの尺度では悪ということになる。
It would mean that all of the X-Day victims fall under Adonis's definition of evil. The videos did always say that they had a reason to be judged.
これが政権批判によるクーデターなら、2年前の総理大臣暗殺未遂事件の時のように、
If they were trying
その
to
中枢を狙うのが普通だろう。
if they were trying to launch a coup, they'd hit the heart of Japan like they attempted on the prime minister 2 years
最終的
ago.
な目的が政府要人の殺害だとしてもだ。
That'd be true even if their final goal was just to kill important
その予定のために
officials.
カウントダウンと称して関係のない一般人を何人も殺すなら、それはただの愉快犯だ。
That would mean these theatrical countdowns and killings of unrelated civilians just seem like they're for
そういう
amusement.
稚拙な楽しみは感じられない。
But they
奴ら
don't.
に
My
は奴ら
apologies.
なりの信念
I'm
が
sorry,
存在する。
Yanagi. But they don't feel that way to me. They feel like they have a
計
larger
画の小さ
agenda.
さからも、確固たるポリシーがあるタイプの犯罪だと白石も言っていた。愉快犯じゃない。
Shidashi said that the detailed plans like this are particular to the certain type of crimes. They aren't treating this as a game. In other words, the X-Day victims were killed out of revenge. They were killed out of revenge. That's right. Yanagi quietly nodded.
人は動機があるから殺人を犯そうとする。動機の種類は数えきれないが。
People commit murder because they have motive. There are countless possible motives.
生活苦のため、優越感を満たすため、快楽のため、自己防衛のため、突発的な怒り。
Disillusionment with life, superiority complexes, amusement, passion, grudges, the list goes on.
殺人を犯すに至る動機の中でも、復讐の割合はかなり多い。
Among the many motives for murder, revenge is the cause a disproportionate amount of the time. And the motive that the public is most willing to believe
ま
is
だ推測の
revenge.
域に過ぎないが、犯人から直接聞き出したわけでもないし、確証はない。
This is just conjecture for now. We've never heard it directly from the criminals, so this is just speculation.
アドニスからの声明は、罪を犯した者への裁きと称される
However,
ことも
Adonis has often mentioned that they are judging sinners. That in the past, what common sins have the X-Day victims all committed?
そういうことだな。神様気取りのテロ組織が代わりに手を下しているのか、実際の被害者が復讐を果たしているのかは定かじゃないが。
There's the rub. We don't know for certain whether these terrorists are merely playing God or whether they're taking vengeance. But we might make progress by investigating people who would have grudges against the X-Day victims.
だがそういう人間には全てアリバイがある。
Right, but all of those people have alibis. Yanagi smiled bitterly. The reason was made clearly
不
right
自然
away.
なほどに完璧で崩せないアリバイがな。
They have alibis that are so perfect that it's unnatural. One thing was for sure, the X-Day murderers had all been meticulously planned out. If the suspects all have airtight alibis, then the people can't really bring them in. Bringing in suspects without merit would be especially bad in this charged atmosphere. Moreover, the police officers killed in May had previously made mistaken arrests. The public had already long been mumbling that the police couldn't be trusted.
まあ、そういうわけでな。
Oh, that's what we know.
一つ一つの事件は当然調べなきゃならない。
Of
警
course,
察が隠している事実もあるだろうし、
of
見
course,
過ごしているものだって絶対にある。
Yanagi. Of course, we have to investigate each murder. There are things the police are hiding, as well as details they're certain to have overlooked.
見えていなかった小さな糸口から
These dramatic
事件の
pauses.
全容をつかめる可能性は捨てきれないからな。
Can't rule out the chances that a small lead might be the key that breaks the case wide open.
X デイ事件はただのテロじゃない。事件を起こしているのは俺たちと同じ人間だ。
The X-Day cases aren't just acts of terror. They're carried out by people just like us. They're not some nebulous, mysterious monster.
感情の生き物だ。感情で動く。
People
事件を起こさせるに至った原動力が何なのか知る必要
People
があると思っている。
He's so soft-spoken and he pauses so frequently that I feel like I keep doing this to him. People are creatures of emotion and desires. I think we need to know what drove the terrorists to commit the X-Day crimes. The driving force of the X-Day crime. So many murders, possibly just for revenge. How deeply rooted was the despair? How heavy could those emotions be? I can't accept what Yanagi is saying. Anyone pursuing this would need to consider it. But Yanagi wasn't just thinking of solving the case. He was sympathizing with Adonis. No, that wasn't it. This wasn't sympathy. He had allowed himself to understand the thought process of these terrorists who were menacing society with their heinous crimes. Ask him what his goal is, bro. Pry a little. He knows you and you don't know why. Why did you quit the police to investigate X-Day on your
警
own?
察にいたら見えないものもあると思ってな。
I felt I wouldn't see some details on the force. Yanagi's answer came freely. But I had a feeling that there was some hidden meaning in his words. I'm just an underling, so I'm sure there are circumstances I don't know about. Maybe from Yanagi's point of view, he had seen enough dark scandals within the police to cause him to reconsider being a policeman. Then what's your reason for pursuing the X-Day cases? I felt like I had pried too deeply, but I really wanted to know. I didn't suspect Yanagi of any wrongdoing, but it intrigued me. When Yanagi talked about X-Day, there was a certain gloomy look that would fill his eyes. Everything went quiet for a while. Yanagi stared out past the fence. The view of Shinjuku spanned the skyline. It's like 6 inches taller than you, girl. I like the view of the city from here. I could feel a strong determination in his
今は
quiet
変わり果てて
voice.
しまってるけどな。少し前までは賑やかで人が多かった。
It's changed a lot lately, but there used to be many people
それ
here.
こそ軽犯罪なら山ほど起こってた。どうしようもない街だけどな。
There was
それでも
no
人は
end to the
普通
petty
の日常を
crimes.
送れるここが好きだったんだ。
This was a hopeless city, but people could still live their lives, and I liked that.
俺は人間にとって一番大事なのは当たり前の日常だと思ってる。
I believe that having an everyday normal life is what most important to people. Again, I felt that potent will in his eye. Okay. Again, I felt that potent will in his
食
eye.
べたいものを食べて仕事をして家族や友人と過ごして一日が終われば安心して眠りにつける。
Eating
が日常。
eating what you want to eat, doing your job, passing time with friends and family, and sleeping soundly at the end of the
それ
day.
が壊れるのだけは許せないんだ。だから取り戻したい。
It's all been taken away. I can't allow that. I want to reclaim that for everyone here. A powerful wish. I knew these were in his. A powerful wish. I knew these were his sincere feelings. Thank you. I apologize for prying.
何謝ってるんだ。
What are you apologizing for? He looked like a snake suddenly. Yanagi smiled faintly. And just like that, all the tension I felt in the atmosphere was cut. I guess I was just nervous. I felt
急に
self-conscious.
こんな得体の知らない奴らに協力しろなんて言われたんだ。
You were suddenly told to cooperate and entrust your life to a shady group of people.
詮索くらいしたくなるだろう。自分の身を守るためにもな。
Anyone in your position would want to know more about us. That's just being safe. I really don't think you're shady at all, Yanagi. I didn't know what else to say, so I just sort of mumbled that, not knowing where to look.
いや、それはさすがにどうなんだ。警戒心が緩すぎるだろう。
I don't know about that. Maybe you're just not cautious enough. Hi!
少
Really?
しは自覚しておけ。星野、 俺も聞いていいか？
Just be a little more aware of things. Hoshino, can I ask you something? That sounds scary. When you say things like that, it's scary.
お前の
What is it?
今の目的は？
What is your goal right now? Right now? His direct question caught me off guard. Yanagi wanted to know my current goal. It's true that until just recently, until I spoke to Yanagi, my goal was different. At first, I thought my priority was to remove my collar. Solving the case was a means to an end. But now I really want to know more about the X-Day crimes. Why did this happen? What do these criminals want? I want to know all that and find out how I can help as a police officer. Though powerless as I am, I don't know that I can contribute all that much. Even as a police officer, there was only so much I could do as a rookie. Moreover, I still had this collar on my neck. Regardless of my intent, I was obviously connected to the criminals, and I could be a liability for Yanagi's group. At least I don't want to weigh them down. Oh no. It's trying to give me some Itachi vibes. Something conked me on the head. I was surprised to see that it was a hand. I looked up to see Yanagi gently smiling down at
事件を
me.
解決するのに必要なのは力の強さじゃない。
Power isn't what you need to solve the case like
こんな
these.
状況に放り込まれても、お前はちゃんと自分の足で立ってる。
Even though you were thrown into the middle of this, you can beat that. You'll stand on your own.
十分強いだろ。あまり悲観するな。
You're plenty strong. Don't beat yourself up. Yanagi. His words gradually seeped into my heart. They encouraged me.
この事件の全容を解明する。お前の首輪を外すことにもつながるからな。
I'm certain that we'll uncover everything about these crimes and help you get rid of that collar. Oh no.
いろいろと協力してもらうぞ。
You'll be helping us a lot. Okay. I had to do what I could. One thing at a time, I told myself that.
俺たちのこともそう簡単に信じられないとは思うが、どいつも悪いやつじゃない。
Yeah, Yanagi, probably. I don't think it'll be easy to trust us, but none of us in this group are bad guys. Probably. Yanagi looked away after his minor insult. Well, why do they all have their
た
quirks?
だ、全員が目的のために必死になっている。それだけは間違いない。
All of us are working desperately, I can assure you of that. He's so mature.
扱いづらいだろう
There's a
し、
difference between being mature and scary.
長い目で見てやってくれ。
You said this was your favorite one of those storylines, right? I'm already curious what's gonna happen. It may be hard and troublesome for you, but try to stick with us for the long haul. I'm gonna try not to die, but there's certain routes I have to get through, so. He naturally smiled as he continued. You know, you really are like everyone's dad.
勘弁してくれ。
Give me a break. That really seemed to bother him, so I couldn't help but laugh. There's a part of him that's blunt, and he's a man of few words, but he seems like a good person. I think he's 28 years old. I guess. I mean, I don't think that's old, though. I know that, what was it? Not Sasuke. No, yeah, Sasuke's 24. Minamoto's like the same age as the pro tag, which I think she's 19 or 20. I don't even remember how old she is. With that thought on my mind, I looked out past the fence. Yanagi is the older. It's fair. I mean, he's in division, or was in division 1, which I felt like was one of those positions that you have to work your way into. Even if you're great, you can't just like end up in that position, so that makes sense that he'd be the oldest. For a while, the two of us stood and watched Shinjuku bathe in the darkness. Did he walk you home at least? Like, he made you come out so late. December 7th, 11:30. The next day, I was on call during my lunch break, and I could be summoned at any time, just in case. Oh no, do I need to go to forensics again? The rooftop? Forensics? Okay. We're getting some of the stuff I've already had to deal with already. I recalled the conversation I had with Yanagi.
ここから見える。今は変わり果てて、俺は
I enjoy. We're gonna start with I like the view from up here. I feel the same way. I wanted to eliminate suffering and sadness from as many people as I possibly could. I thought I'd provide help through SRCPO. My feelings still hadn't changed. Even if I lose my job and I'm not part of the police force anymore, I want to do everything that I can possibly do to protect this city. I clearly stated my convictions. Sakagawara stood with a look of pure amazement on her face. If that's as devoted you are to this cause, then nothing I say will matter. Despite her words, she was far calmer than she was before. I'll do what I can to help you. Besides, I promise Sasuke. Thank you so much. Sounds okay. Thought that was repeating, my bad. Well, I say that, but I can't actually help you all that much. Don't be upset if all I can offer you is advice. Okay. If this blows back onto me, I'm not going to lift a finger to help you out. Of course, I would never do anything that would draw suspicion to you. Fine then, come to me if you need anything. If I have the time, I'll try to help you out. Sakagawara sighed and directed a faint smile over my way. I bowed to her. Thank you again. Enough, that goes too far. I'm glad she seems like she's a good person. I was nervous because I didn't know who I could rely on within the station. It was very heartening to gain an ally. The rest of us is up to me. I have to be sure to avoid causing any trouble for Sakagawara. Ooh. At that moment, my phone vibrated in my pocket. I withdrew it and checked the screen. This is Hoshino. Something happened. We have a victim. No, okay. Sounds like the residential area has been hit. It's pandemonium over there. SRCPO has been called in for support. Get over there right away. Yes, sir. And then she's running too, right? I feel like I had this conversation already. I hung up the phone and saw Sakagawara running off the rooftop exit. I was sure she had orders to move out too. I have to hurry. I put my phone away and started running. I did have that before. Ooh. We're gonna find out who Zero is for real this time. Exciting. I've turned up some additional results on the person of interest, sending it your way now. May I ask you something? We've looked into them before. Why do you want to investigate him again? It's true that he seems deeply connected to Lee Hoshino's past. Do I have amnesia? Some of the details we found previously about his past appear to be falsified. There were discrepancies from the police database. Files transfers complete. Please confirm. He's a so-called sinner, thus he is a subject of rehabilitation. It also appears that he didn't know about number 14 despite their long association. Number 14 is Shidashi. Wow, you seem to be enjoying this. Why are you so interested in him? Zero, I'm sure I don't need to tell you this, but our highest priority is X Day. It is nearly upon us. Whether or not that person of interest is a criminal is inconsequential. Am I wrong? I like that this guy's just talking to himself. I heard orders were issued to the enforcers. It'd be bad if they went beyond the plan's scope.
着実に理想が叶いつつあると。それが真実ならいいのですが。
Are you implying our ideals are taking root? That would be fine if it were true.
何でもありません。では
No.
失礼します。
Never mind, excuse me. Aiji Yanagi, age 28, born in Tokyo. Honest, calm, and collected, he possesses outstanding investigative abilities. However, as part of Investigation Section 1, he allowed multiple suspects to escape. This is believed to be the cause of the incident in his past. He required observation to be a rehabilitated subject, but he left his post in August. After that, he began an independent investigation using Shinjuku as his HQ. Now, will he be judged or will he carry out judgment? Whoop, the TV show ended. December 7th, 11:31 p.m. I'm still over here.
被害者は田中悟、独身、無職。死因は銃で撃たれたことによる失血死。
Victim Satori Tanaka, unemployed loner. Cause of death was blood loss after a
現場に
gunshot.
残されたローマ数字1およびコインの一致から
It's an
X-ray
X-day
事件
crime.
確定。
Evidenced by the Roman numeral 1 at the scene and another coin.
それ以外の情報は
So, do you have anything else for us? I unconsciously shrunk under Sasaka's tense glare. I don't have much to go on. After Mochida called me, I made a beeline to the scene, but the victim was already dead, and initial exams were done. Mochida and I had been canvassing the area for witnesses and to calm people down. Things had finally gotten under control a moment ago. Then Sasaka texted me and I went to the detective office on foot. Today's crime was revealed when Adonis sent an email with a video URL directly to Shinjuku Station's shared email address. The video was analyzed and the filming location was determined, but the criminals had fled before investigators got to the scene. They haven't managed to grab any suspects yet.
相変わらずゴテゴテだな。
Too slow, as always. You're so mean. I had no comeback for that. I had just stated the facts.
何言ってやがる。最初から期待なんかしてないだろ、お前は。
What are you ragging on her for? You said you didn't expect much to begin with. Thanks, Enomoto.
俺が解析してたら犯人が逃げる前に現場を特定できた。
Of course I don't. If I'd done the analysis, we would have been at the scene before they left. That's not true. You said it was set intentionally like that. Talk is cheap.
お前と一緒にすんな、単細胞。
Please don't talk like we're on the same level, you amoeba.
単細胞言うな、若め野郎。
Don't call me an amoeba, seaweed head. I'll boil you in miso soup and eat you. While listening to Sasaka and Enomoto hurl insults back and forth, I let out an inaudible sigh. I feel like he's saying that I'm completely useless. The thought seriously depressed me. It was tough for me to point to anything that I'd done to help solve the case right now.
戻った。
I'm back.
あ、柳先輩、お帰りなさい。
Oh, Yanagi, welcome back. Apparently, Yanagi had gone out earlier and nobody had mentioned it. I wonder if he went to the crime scene. I'd heard that Yanagi went to the scene every time a homicide was committed. I didn't see him there, but he might have shown up there while I was busy gathering statements from witnesses.
現場周辺の様子、どうでした？
What was the crime scene like?
現場行ってもどうせ直接見られやしねえのによくやるよな。
You're pretty dedicated to go out every time, even though you can never get a direct look.
念のためな。まあ目新しい情報が手に入ったわけでもないが。
You never know when it'll help. I didn't get any new intel this time, though.
初動捜査でもこれといった手がかりはなかったんじゃないか。
I assume they didn't manage to get any clues from the assessment. It was directed at me. Feeling ashamed, I meekly nodded. That's right, they found nothing useful on the suspect. The victim had only moved there recently, and it sounds like he was paranoid. I think that's basically all we
やは
learned.
りそうか。
I thought so.
役に立たねえな。
Why?
このバカ猫。
This dumb cat is so useless. Shut up!
いや、今の時点で得られる情報なんて その程度がせいぜいだ。今日起きたばかりの事件だから。
Yawning. I meant that all everyone could be expected to learn at this stage. This just happened earlier today.
X デイ事件に関して警察はどうしても後手に回らざるを得ない。
To begin with, the police have always been several steps behind when it comes to
わざ
X-Day
わざアドレスが
crimes.
声明を出すくらいだ。不都合な手がかりを現場に残しておいてくれるほど親切じゃないだろうしな。
Adonis announced that murder. They obviously covered their tracks at the scene before telling the world about
そ
it.
りゃそうだけど
That's true.
情報収集はお前の役目だ。そうだろう、笹塚。
It's your job to gather intel, isn't that right, Sasaka?
今までの事件との共通点、もう見つかっているんじゃないのか。
See if you can find any commonalities with this case and the previous incidents. Of course. I watched Sasaka snort and began to work when something dawned on me. Was Yanagi helping me just then? Right now, it was obviously hard for me to get new information, but the same was true for the police and Yanagi.
今日の事件の被害者田中悟は8月まであるゲーム開発会社に勤務してた。
Today's victim, Saitori Tanaka, worked for a video game developer until last
田中の担
August.
当はあるネットゲームの開発。ここまで
Tanaka was working on an online game. I'm sure you know all that.
8月の被害者たちがこぞってプレイしてた例のゲームだ。
All of the August victims played the game that Tanaka had been working on.
マジか。
Wow, seriously?
引っ越しも怯えて暮らしてたのもいつか自分が殺されると思ってたせいなら妥当じゃねえの？
The reason he moved and was so paranoid was that he thought he would be killed. Well, looks like it was a justified fear.
とりあえず8月なら俺の担当。署にいた頃の容疑者リストあるからまずはそこから当たってく。
Well, this falls under August, so it's mine. I'm gonna cross my legs again. I have to literally move my chair so I don't kick the table every time. This falls under August, so it's mine. I have the list of suspects from when I was at the station, so I'll look at that first.
じゃあ、あとは笹塚に任せる。
We'll leave that to you then.
了解。
Roger. With that, Sasaka turned his chair around. It appears he had no need for anyone else, so he was focusing on his computer. Why am I even here? I felt like I had no place. I knew that I wasn't helping much. I was only here because of my caller, because Adonis told us to pursue the crimes. Being coddled due to my lack of experience did nothing to ease my feelings of powerlessness.
星野、
Hoshino? While I was lost in deep thought, I felt something on my head. It was Yanagi's hand. He had lightly tapped me on my
そん
head.
な顔するな。
Don't make that face. Yanagi. I have to get it together. Scolding myself, I looked at Yanagi, who was gazing at me intently.
星野、今日の事件についてお前なりに思ったことを聞かせてくれるか。
Hoshino, would you tell us your thoughts on the homicide now? Yes. I thought again about everything that had happened in the case today in order. And if I compared it to the X-Day crimes that had occurred before, compared to previous X-Day incidents, the crime scene today was discovered more quickly.
どれくらい？
How much faster? Investigators were on the scene only minutes after the death of the victim. None of the other homicide scenes so far were pinpointed so quickly, as far as I
それだ
know.
け声明に使われた動画が分かりやすかったということか。
What if the video just made it easier to pick out the location this time? That's a possibility. Speaking of which, the video was sent directly to the police and only the police this time.
今まではずっとネットにアップされてたよな。全国一斉公開で警察が何度削除しても。
Until now, they've uploaded them to the internet, right? The police couldn't just delete them if the entire world saw them. Yes, but the video of this incident was not publicized anywhere on the internet. Adonis boasted about the righteousness of their goal, and they want to sway public opinion, so you'd think they'd be sure to broadcast this. Based on that, it feels more like a spontaneous crime.
本来予定されていなかった計画外に起こされた事件という可能性だな。
Something that wasn't originally planned. You're saying this might not have been sanctioned. Yes, until now, Adonis has been meticulous in the planning and execution of their crimes, but it doesn't seem that way this time. Still, they left a coin and a video. I don't think this is a
一
copycat
つ考
crime.
えられる理由としては焦っている。
Maybe they're starting to get antsy. I get that impression. The organization might not have control, or maybe this isn't accounted for this wasn't accounted for in Ados's plan. This is
他
possibility
にもい
as
くつか
well.
理由は考えられるが、今までと様子が違うのは間違いなさそうだな。
I can think of a few more possible reasons, but there's no doubt that this case is different. There was still many unknown variables. Still, this could be the opening that would give us a glimpse of the bigger picture.
そういや星野
By the way, Hoshino? Yes. Just when I was getting deep in thought, Enomoto suddenly clapped his
お前
hands.
結局どの事件を捜査するのか決まったのか
Have you finally decided which crime you're going to be investigating?
あ
あ
じゃねえよ意外とのんきだなお前
No, not Man, you're awfully cheerful about this. Oh. I don't know. I was interested in every case and I wanted to solve them all if I could, but I felt like just retracing what HQ and Yanagi had already been over wasn't likely to be all that effective, and that's exactly why I ended up deciding on one thing. I want to know the truth about Adonis and all of the XD incidents. When I stated my intention out loud, Enomoto's eyes widened. Huh?
X-ray 事件全体
All the X-Day incidents? Sasuke, who had been acting like he wasn't paying any attention to me, was now looking at me with a doubtful expression. I didn't think I had said anything that was that shocking. That said, I honestly have no idea where I should start.
わかった。なら、星野は俺のサポートに入ってくれ。
Yeah, right. In that case, you should assist me, Hoshino. Huh? Yanagi suddenly piped up. Help Yanagi? Are you sure? I floated the question out there hesitantly. Yanagi's expression didn't
俺の
change.
仕事は、各月の事件の情報を一元化して整理することだ。
My job is to consolidate and organize the information on all the cases from each
発
month.
生から時間が経っている事件でも、関係者情報が増えたり、新たな事件が起こることで、前の推論が使えなくなったり。
Since the crimes occurred, more people of interest have surfaced, or new information has rendered old information
それまで信
useless.
憑性のあった情報が、捜査上では邪魔なものに変わることもある。複数の事件が関わっている以上、
There's
有用
also
的なんだ。
every time. There's also information once thought credible until it complicated the investigation. With so many cases, many things are in
一
flux.
連の事件としての情報整理は、常に更新していく必要があるからな。
We constantly need help to keep our information up to date because we're treating the crimes as related. How are you gathering information to begin with?
基本的な情報については、笹塚が警察のデータベースから拝借してる。
As far as basic information, we count on Sasuke to borrow it from the police database.
そんな顔するな。オンライン上に上がっているのは大抵、抜かれても問題ない程度の情報でしかない。
Don't give me that look. The details you can find online are trivial things. They have no problem showing to the
だが
public.
聞き込みや通報から得られる情報は意外とバカにできない。些細でも全体像がガラッと変わることがある。
The intel from witnesses and police reports is much more detailed. A trivial piece of real information could shed light on
こうして
everything.
事件全体の共通点や相違点を洗い出す。それからアドニスという組織を調べるのも俺の仕事に含まれているな。
This is how we're pinpointing the similarities and differences between the cases. After that, it's up to me to learn more about
警
Adonis.
察の動きも気になるし、お前がサポートに入ってくれるなら助かる。
Police movements are always of interest to us, so I'd appreciate it if you could help with that. Okay, I understand. Then I look forward to working with you. Same here. Also, how do we know each other? I had thought that I had no way out, but if I was helping Yanagi, I could relax. I'm glad and a little relieved. Unwittingly, I let out a relieved sigh, but then I panicked and chided myself for it. I have to do my best to help him. Otherwise, my being here was pointless.
今日の事件については、警察内部で新しい情報が出てきたら教えてくれ。
His voice is more intense.
怪しまれるような無茶はするな。
Let us know if there's any new developments at the station regarding today's homicide, but don't be obvious and get yourself caught. I understand. I don't think the information that trickles down to me will be very valuable, though.
そうだろうな。そこは気にしないでいい。
Well, that's true. Don't stress yourself out too much over it.
今日の事件
Okay.
さっきも言ったが、基本は笹塚に任せる。進展があったら報告をくれ。
Sasuke will grab the basics of today's homicide, like I mentioned. Report anything new to me.
了解。
Got it.
じゃあ、今日はこれで解散だ。
All right, that is today's meeting. With Yanagi's dismissal, the mood in the office seemed to lighten a bit.
解散っつってもな。なんかもう外ぼんやり明るくないっすか？
You say today's meeting, but isn't the sun already coming up?
そりゃな。
Yeah, you're right. I checked the clock to see it was almost dawn. Upon realizing that, all the fatigue suddenly started taking hold of my body. Feel that I'm yawning right now.
家まで送ってく。
Hoshino, I'll walk you home. Sure, thank you. I wanted to hurry home and get some sleep. I was happy to take him up on the offer. The sun's really about to come up. Outside, it was much brighter than it seemed from the view out through the window. I wonder if I can still catch a nap. I was worrying too much. I could still take a shower and have a cup of coffee at
Hoshino.
least. Hoshino? Yeah? As I was focusing on staying awake, I was startled when Yanagi called my name. There was something gentle about
焦る
his
必要
look.
はない。できることからやればいいだけだ。
You don't need to panic. Just try and help out however you think you can.
急に操作しろなんて言われても、何かでやればいいかわからないだろう。
You're not sure what you should do with those orders, am I
警
right?
察官としての操作とは
Maybe.
どうしたって違ってくるからな。
This is going to be a bit different than a standard police investigation. Yeah. Yanagi had precisely figured out what I was feeling. His concern immediately filled me with a sense of ease. I'm so transparent. I had to change my personality so that my mood wouldn't be affected so easily.
柳さんに猫さん。
Ah, Yanagi and the kitty cat. Huh. We were startled by a very soft
Oh my.
voice.
どこから現れた？
Where did you come from?
え、ずっといたよ。
Huh? I've been here the whole
気
time.
配を消してか？
Were you hiding or something?
そんなことしてないってば。
I keep telling you I haven't been hiding. Paying no mind to Yanagi's sour look, Okazaki smiled at
それ
me.
より、もしかしてこれから彼女を送ってくの？家まで。
I couldn't help but wonder, are you escorting her
それ
home?
がどうした？
What if I am?
なら、俺が送っていこうか。
Why don't you let me do it? What?
いやいい。お前にも仕事があるだろう。こっちのことには構うな。
No, it's fine. You have a job to do. Don't mind us. Yanagi's curt reply to his suggestion was surprisingly fast. It was as if he was trying to cut off Okazaki before he said anything else. But it'd be bad if I'm alone with Okazaki. They kept telling me not to give him information, so he can't know that I'm a police officer.
へえ、そんな追い払おうとしないでよ。俺だけじゃ頼りないって思ってるなら、柳さんも一緒でいいから。
Don't chase me off like that. If you don't think you can trust me, then you should just come to Yanagi.
本人が困ってるのが見てわからないのか。彼女はうちの依頼人だ。
There's
ちょっと出すな。
There's no two. I'm taking her home. Can't you see you're bothering her? Stop making
だって
passes.
猫さんともっと話してみたいし。
But I want to talk with the cat some more. Okazaki's smile was so pure and carefree it didn't contain a hint of malice. He just kept
こんな時
insisting.
間まで相談が必要だなんて、そんなに難しい依頼なの？
Is the job so tough that you need to have a conference at this hour? That was why he bothered me. I had to lie to him, but I felt pretty terrible about it.
だから、詮索するなと言ってるだろう。プライバシーってものを知らないのか？
Stop trying to pry into her affairs. Don't you know what privacy is?
じゃあ柳さんが教えてよ。
Why don't you explain it to me, Yanagi?
探偵が依頼人の事情を話せるか？守秘義務の意味を辞書で調べてこい。
A detective doesn't disclose client information. Go look up confidentiality in a dictionary.
探偵なんて表向きの看板だって言ってたのに、本当に商売することにしたんだ。
But you said the detective gig was just a front. Are you actually in business now?
お前には関係ない。
My business is none of your business.
何度も言っているが、俺たちは今や警察とは関係ない自由の身だ。
How many times does it tell you we're independent with no ties to the
お前
police?
みたいのにうろうろされると気が休まらないんだよ。
Unlike you, we don't have time to waste loitering around like you always do.
でも柳さんたちは過去の X デー事件を再捜査してたんだよね。そっちはいいの？
You sure about that? Tour teams running an investigation on the past X-Day cases. All I could do was listen to their exchange. I could hear unconcealed irritation and rage in Yanagi's voice.
岡崎、お前何を企んでる？
What is wrong with you, Okazaki? Yanagi was glaring at Okazaki now. His glare was so intense that I thought it would bore a hole right through its skull.
別に何も企んでなんてないよ。ただ君たちのことをもっと知りたいだけ。
Nothing's wrong with me, really. I just wanted to get to know you better. The glare had no effect on Okazaki. There wasn't a crack in that bright smile. To what end?
だって俺の任務は君たちの警護だよ。警護する相手のことを知りたいって思うのは自然なことじゃない？
My mission is to protect you after all. Isn't it completely natural to want to know more about the people I'm guarding?
表向きの理由はどうでもいい。上に命令されて、お前が俺たちのことを探っているのは知っている。
I don't care what your public reason is. I know that you've been ordered to spy on us by your
だ
superiors.
からちゃんと警護するために君たちのことを知っておきたいんだってば。大事なことなんだから。
Like I said, I just want to know more about you so that I can better protect you. It's important to me, you know?
ならせめて俺たちのことだけにしろ。いや、それも正直勘弁してほしいが。
Then limit it to me. No, sorry. Just don't do it at all.
どちらにしろ、彼女は関係ないはずだ。変な詮索をするな。関わるな。
Either way, she has nothing to do with this. Stop prying and leave her alone. Okazaki glanced at Yanagi, who was obviously furious at him, and chuckled for some reason. This whole time, Okazaki had been smiling, but that laugh just now was different. It was as if something just now was so funny that he couldn't keep it
何の話？
contained. What's so funny?
柳さんも嘘がつけない人だよね。
Yanagi, you're also someone who can't
どういう
lie.
意味だ？
What's that supposed to mean?
内緒。
It's a secret. Yanagi's frown etched deeper into his face. The tension was unbearable. Should I step in? I didn't think that interrupting would make things any better. I knew that, and yet...
ねえ猫さん、
Hey, cat. Yes?
君は俺に話しかけられるの迷惑？
Am I causing trouble for you when I talk to you? Trouble? That's not exact... I managed to stop myself, but I was so incapable of denying it. He looked at me so sadly, I was just totally unable to hurt him in the slightest way.
もっと君と仲良くなりたいな。
You see, I just want to get along with you better. Hey, look. Remember berries? While flashing the world's most innocent smile, Okazaki took hold of my hand. Excuse me? I couldn't sense any ulterior motive from him. There wasn't a hint of malice in his smile. That said, I couldn't just go along with his. What should I do? I was too panicked to say anything coherent. I was completely out of sorts, as I had been
いい
earlier.
加減にしろ、岡崎。
Knock it off, Okazaki. Of course, he was the one to pull me out of the boondoggle. Yanagi,
お前は彼女を利用して、俺たちのことを探ろうとしているだけだろ。
you just want to use her to spy on us, don't you? I felt a warm hand on my shoulder and I calmed down a little bit.
職務熱心なのはいいが、だからといって誰彼構わず巻き込むな。
I respect your passion for the job, but stop indiscriminately involving other people.
柳さんは俺のこと嫌いだよね。
You really seem to dislike me, Yanagi. Okazaki sighed. He sounded like he was
ずる
sulking.
いな。 俺は柳さんや峰尾くんやタケルくん、それに猫さんとも仲良くしたいだけなのに。
You're so mean. I just want to be friends with you, Minio, Tekeru, and the kitty
お
cat.
前、またそういう言い方で煙に巻こうとしたって。
Cut the crap and cut it out with your bullshit charade.
だってどう考えたってずるいじゃない。
But all you're doing is being mean to
君
me.
たちはあったかい部屋の中で楽しそうにしてるのに、俺は寒空の下、ずーっとここに立ってるだけなんだよ。
While you're having fun in that warm room, I've been standing out here in the cold this whole time.
結構寂しいんだから。
Don't you get it? It's really lonely.
そういう仕事なんだろうが。
That's your job. I'm not your boss.
そうなんだけどね。でも、たまには仲間に入れてくれたっていいと思うな。
Maybe, but I figured that if we have to be near my, we might as well be friends.
榎本にでも遊んでもらえ。こいつにはもう関わるな。
Go pal around with Enomoto then. Stop fixating on her.
そっか。そこまで大事な存在なんだね。
I see. She's just that important to you. He chuckled. You son of a... Okazaki suddenly let go of my hand.
いきなりごめんね、猫さん。あんまりよく知らない人に手なんて握られて困っちゃったよね。
Sorry about that, cat. I guess it must be a bother when someone you don't know very well just grabs your hand. No, I shook my head apologetically, but with a smile. I was finally calm, just glad to see that this had all finally blown over. Somehow, it felt vaguely like Okazaki had been deliberately acting that way to trigger Yanagi's outburst. But why? Was he aware that I wasn't actually a client for the detective agency? Maybe he had been trying to check. Sir! Then we heard a loud voice and the sound of a fast approaching footsteps.
また面倒なのが増えた。
Great, more trouble. Yanagi. Yanagi put his palm to his forehead and his shoulders slumped. It messed up his hair and it made him look a little younger to me.
朝飯買ってきましたよ。
I brought breakfast. A younger man whom I'd never seen before approached. He ran up to Okazaki and handed him a convenience store shopping bag. Sir, this must be a junior officer who works under Okazaki. Now that I thought about it, there was no way Okazaki would have been stationed here alone. I cautiously observed the man and saw that he also had an SP patch on his arm. I knew it.
あれ、なんか空気が重いような。もしかして。
The mood seems really heavy. Did I interrupt a fight? Huh? The man's eyes were wide and he was staring at me with serious look on his face. It was quite possible that he was familiar with the way that conversation went between Yanagi and Okazaki, but from the way he jumped into the middle, I had a feeling he was high-ranking.
上司部下揃って。
You've got no sense of timing.
それより吉成くん、自己紹介。彼女とは
What's up,
初め
Yachty?
て会うよね。
You should introduce yourself, Yoshinari. This is your first time meeting her, right? It's only 9:30, so this is not surprising.
この間柳さんたちに依頼しに来たって方ですよね。
I need to move my mic. It's really too close to where my arm goes. That's true. You were a person who recently approached Yanagi for a
俺
job.
は吉成秀明。岡崎先輩の忠実な部下っす。よろしくお願いします。
My name is Hariaki Yoshinari. I'm Okazaki's right-hand man. It's a pleasure to meet you. Right. A pleasure. This one was a genuine SP officer as well. They had 2 SP officers assigned to them. Now I understood why Yanagi was so wary. I didn't know the reason, but it meant that they were under extremely tight surveillance.
付き合ってられるか。行くぞ。
I'm walking you back. Shall we go? Oh, yes. Answering him, I took the opportunity to hurry after Yanagi. Well then, excuse me. I gave Okazaki and Yoshinari a courteous bow and then started following after Yanagi when...
へえ、あれが噂の重要人物？普通の子にしか見えませんね、先輩。
So she's the VIP I've been hearing about. She looks like a normal girl to me, sir. Huh? The remark made me stop.
こーら。
Hey!
いや、先輩痛えっす。
Yeah, that hurts, sir. Okazaki flicked Yoshinari's head hard. He had a pained expression on his face that he knew they had been overheard. At some point, Yanagi had also turned around. His sharp gaze was directed at Yoshinari. Yanagi had heard them. I also felt this something was wrong.
吉成くんが朝ごはん買ってきてくれたし、猫さんを送るのは柳さんに任せるよ。
Well, Yoshinari brought me breakfast, so I'll let you take the kitty home, Yanagi. Okazaki just smiled in response to Yanagi's piercing glare. He honestly looked like he had no intention of returning or avoiding that gaze.
じゃあまたね。行こう、吉成くん。
See you later. Let's go, Yoshinari.
ぐえ。
が。
首、先輩、首締まってるっす。
My neck, sir. You're choking me.
聞こえないな。
Didn't you hear me?
ぐるじー。
I can't breathe. It's not true. If you can't breathe, you can't talk. Just goes hand in hand. Then Okazaki dragged Yoshinari into an alley by the scuff of his neck. I watched them depart almost as if they were fleeing. I heaved a huge sigh.
やっぱり、もうバレてるか。
Looks like your secret's out. Yeah. To Okazaki's team, Yanagi's group were VIPs to be protected, pretense or not. Suddenly, I'd gotten close to the group. Of course, Okazaki would be suspicious of me. If they look into me, I'm sure they'll figure everything out pretty quickly. They'd discover I was in the police.
岡崎はあくまでも知らないふりを貫くつもりのようだな。
Looks like Okazaki plans to play dumb to the end. It appears so. If he already knew I was an officer, it would be normal for him to wonder why I was conducting investigations outside of work. But he was overlooking it. I wonder why.
そもそも、岡崎たちの真意や目的もわからないままだ。今は考えても仕方ない。
We don't know what Okazaki wants, which means it's not constructive to burn time on it. Yeah. In any case, I was also now being monitored by police in addition to Yanagi's team. Not even counting Adonis, my hands were full. I started to worry about everything piling
大丈
up.
夫だ。なるべくお前から意識をそらせるようにする。
It'll be all right. We'll do our best to divert attention. Yanagi.
前にも言ったが、岡崎には気をつけろ。
Just
忘れるなよ。
remember what I said. Be careful of Okazaki. I mean it. Yes. I squished my anxiety and nodded firmly. I said it aloud so that my heart would hear. Thanks to the encounter this morning, my caution towards Okazaki was undoubtedly risen. December 8th, 7:24 p.m.
あ、柳先輩、遅かったっすね。
Yanagi, that took a while.
ちょっとな、公園で一服してた。
Yeah, I bet I took a smoke break in the park. That's
今
right.
どこも禁煙ですからね。喫煙所あんまないしな。
Smoking's banned everywhere now, huh? There aren't many smoking areas. You shouldn't be smoking.
見上げた。
I just wandered over. It wasn't planned here.
あざーっす。たける、ドーナツあるぞ。
Thanks. Hey, Takeru, he bought donuts.
よこせ。
Gimme.
じゃ、俺サンドイッチもらい。
I'll take the sandwich then.
いやー、しかしな。
Man, that was surprising.
なんで
What was?
まあ、柳先輩が自分から言い出すとか意外だったなって思って。
Well, you know, I didn't expect you to go out of your way like this, Yanagi. What's so surprising?
星野のことですよ。自分のサポートにつけって言い出したやつ。
I'm talking about Hoshino. You went and made her your assistant.
それか。
Ah, that.
だってもともと反対してましたよね。危険だから捜査に関わらせるのは賛成できないって。
You were against it from the start. After all, you said it was too dangerous to involve her in the cases, so you wouldn't allow
それ
it.
じゃなくても首はつけられてるし、こっちの情報も筒抜けだし。
Besides, she has that collar. Everything that goes on here gets
だから
transmitted.
だろ
That's exactly why he did it.
どういうことだよ。
What do you mean?
柳さんの下で事件全体を追ってる風に見せておけば事件に直接触れなくて済む。
If Yanagi shows that she is investigating the cases as a whole, she's never directly involved.
傍から見りゃバカ猫が操作してるってことには間違いねえから あっちの要求も飲んでる。
Once they see the stupid cat is definitely working on the case, their demands will be
総
met.
括しても危険は減るってことだ。
It should actually decrease the risk to
つま
her.
り星野に操作させるつもりはやっぱりないってこと？
So you're saying that you don't really plan on letting her investigate the crimes?
そうなるな。
Well, probably.
もし彼女自身に何か調べたい事件があったなら話は別だったが、
But if she decides she wants to look into a particular case, that's a different
首
story.
輪をつけた奴が何を企んでいるかわからない以上、操作をしてるふりでごまかせるならその方がいい。
If we don't know what whoever's on the other end of the collar is planning, we'll have to let them think Hoshino's working the cases.
そういやあいつ事件全体が気になるって言ってたもんな。
She did say that she was interested in them as a whole.
柳先輩とペア組んで操作してるふりさせるのが一番ってことか。
That would make it best for her to team up with you and play
星野
detective.
は警察官だが、まだ新人だ。捜査に関して手慣れてるわけでもないしな。
Hoshino's a co-op, but she's still green. She isn't familiar with how investigations go.
まあバカ猫の操作能力に期待できねえって点は同意だけど。
I can agree with you, but we shouldn't expect much from the dumb cat's abilities.
んだよ。眉間にしわ寄ってんぞ。
What is it? You're frowning.
ちょっと黙っとけ単細胞。
Shut up for a second, you're protozoan.
お前な、単細胞、
Protozoan
単細胞って。
Man, you're always calling me amoeba, protozoan.
柳さんに聞きたいことがあんだよ。
Yanagi, I want to ask you something. What is
柳
it?
さん的にはどうなんだ。あいつを少しでも疑ってるから手元に置いて見張ることにしたのか。
What are your thought process on this? Are you keeping her on a short leash because you suspect
それ
her?
とも絶対白だって思ってるから。
Or do you think she's completely innocent?
星野自身に悪意はない。おそらく自覚もない。
Hoshino harbors no ill will. She probably doesn't even realize
だが
it.
本人の意図とは関係なく、必ず犯人との関わりは持っている。
Regardless of her intention, she must have some connection to the criminals. That's the assumption I'm working from.
犯人はあいつの知り合いってことですか？
Do you think she knows them personally? Yes, in fact, I think she goes
犯人から
drinking
の
with
手
them.
紙を思い出してみろ。
Think back to the letters we received.
バカ猫のこと良き理解者となり得るって書いてたな。
They wrote that the dumb cat could potentially be a sympathizer.
そういやそうか。ある程度あいつのこと知ってなきゃ、そんなこと言えないよな。
They must know her well enough to make a statement like that.
首輪をつけられた時の状況を考えると、犯人はある程度、星野の行動パターンを把握できていた可能性が高い。
If we consider the matter in which she had the collar placed on her, it's very likely that they're aware of her movement
さて
patterns.
でも、そうだな。帰宅経路、そしてあの日の帰宅時間。
At the minimum, let me think. They had to know her route and when she
そ
left
れらの
work.
情報を不自然なく入手できてこそ、彼女一人をああやって新宿園におびき寄せることができたはずだ。
They were able to get that information without tipping anyone off and use it to lure her to Shinjuku Garden.
つまり、元々の知り合いが最近知り合ったか、一方的に彼女のことを知っているか。
So we're looking for someone like an old acquaintance, someone she met recently, or an unknown who's been observing her.
なるほど。つまり、白寄りのグレーみたいなもんか。
I see. Basically, you're saying she's pretty innocent.
おい何あっさり納得してんだよ単細胞。
Hey, you protest. Don't just parrot his theory.
だって、あいつ嘘つけるようには見えねえし。
But I don't think she's
そう
lying.
だな。そんな頭があるならもっとうまくやってるだろう。
That's the thing. If she was that cunning, she'd be much better at this at her charade.
納得いかない。柳さん、あいつに裏がないって信じる根拠は？
Riyadh, it's just 9:30. I should have made coffee. Still, I just can't take this on faith. Yanagi, what basis do you have of your opinion?
根拠か。勘だと言ったら、お前は怒るんだろうな。
My evidence? If I said it was instinct, you'd probably get mad.
勘ね。そんなあやふやなものを根拠に人を信じるとか。
Instinct, huh? People shouldn't place so much trust on such nebulous reasons.
お前の言い分もわからなくはない。
I can't say that I totally disagree with you.
つうか、ちょっと待ってくださいよ。首輪つけたやつが星野の知り合いなら、それって警察関係者って線が濃くなるってことですか？
Hold on a second. If the caller knows Hoshino, then doesn't that make them most likely to be
Yeah.
police?
星野はまだ新人だからな。警察に入る前の人間関係を無視する理由は今のところ
Unless she met them in the academy. Hoshino's new to the force. She wouldn't have had enough time to forge stronger friendships than she has had previously. I guess you're
それ
right.
こそ星野が道端で助けた一般人が犯人だったなんて可能性もなくないからな。
We can't rule out the possibility that a civilian Hoshino happened to help was actually with Adonis. The old lady!
該当する範囲がやたらと広がっただけじゃないですか。
That would seriously widen our pool of suspects.
その理屈で言えば、犯人は柳さんって可能性もあるわけだ。
Going back to logic, couldn't that also make you a suspect?
は、
ん
なんでそうなる？
Where'd that come from?
バカ猫のこと前から知ってる風だっただろ。
You were acting like you'd known the dumb
な
cat.
んでわかった？
How could you tell? Call it instinct.
ちなみにお前もな、ミネオ。バカ猫と新宿署で会ったことあるだろ。
That goes for you too. You met her at Shinjuku Station before, right?
会ったことねえけど。
What? I did?
自覚ねえのかよ。前独り言かなんかでブツブツ言ってただろ。
You didn't even realize that you were grumbling something about it earlier.
何事？
Grumbling?
前に見た時はもう少しおとなしそうで可愛かったのに。
You were muttering something about her looking more mature and cute or whatever.
マジで？俺そんな独り言言っちゃってた？
Seriously? I actually said that out loud?
白石さんは初対面っぽかったけど、あの人なら会ってたとしても適当に偽れそうだし。
It seems like she hasn't met Shidashi before, but he's liable to make up stories for laughs.
容疑者から外れるのは俺だけか。
So I'm the only one that can really be ruled out.
んだよそれ。お前だって隠してるだけかもしんねえだろ。
How the... What the heck? How do you know you weren't hiding something?
おい、タケル。どういうつもりで？
Hey, Takuru, where do you get
や
off?
めろ榎本。笹塚は可能性の話をしてるだけだ。
Stop, Edamoto. Sasuke's just talking about possibilities.
可能性？
Possibilities.
交流が深くなくても、それこそどこかですれ違っただけの接触しかなくても、犯行は可能だっていう意味でな。
He's saying that the suspect could be someone who only knew her in passing without having any significant interactions.
そういうこと。
I
ミネオならともかく、俺は根拠もなしに柳さんを疑わない。
do not recall them saying she had ever met Enomoto before in her storyline. However, it was like 10 hours of reading, so maybe they mentioned it and it was such a brief time that meh. But Yanagi's acting way more like I know this girl, so I'm confused. That's right, I wouldn't doubt Yanagi unless I had proof. Minio, on the other hand.
なんでそこで俺はともかくなんだよ。
Oi, what exactly do you mean by
安心
that?
しろよ。お前みたいな単細胞があんな緻密な犯行をやれるとか思ってねえし。
Take it easy. I doubt a bacterium like you is capable of such fine
それ
planning.
喜んでいいのかわかんねえから。
I don't know if I'm supposed to be flattered.
とにかくだ。今はまだ犯人が星野に直接接触していなかったとしても、今後近づいてくる可能性は十分ある。
Even if the criminals haven't directly contacted Hoshino, there's a good chance she'll be approached in the future.
注意して見ておく必要があるな。
We need to keep an eye out for that.
そうっすね。
Yeah, man.
おい、のんきなこと言ってる場合じゃ
Oi,
なさ
no
そうだ
time。to relax.
なんだよ。
What?
まさか、
Don't tell me.
そのまさかだよ。
Take a look.
これ、
This is...
おい、マジかよ。だって昨日も。
You can't be serious. There was one just yesterday.
昨日の今日でやってくれるとは
Apparently they're
な。ア
continuing.
ドニス様の X デーへのカウントダウンだ。もうネットで拡散されてる。
Another X Day countdown from Mighty Adonis is already online. I'm just gonna... We've had this conversation like 5 times. Only 23 days until rebirth. That's the stalker one. I don't need to read that. I've read that one like in 3 different conversations. It's the one done by the cute girl with the purpley hair that wears white that's in love with Zero.
少子か。
Death by fire. It appears that way. The station was abuzz with talk about the incident that occurred this morning. The crime scene investigation was already done, and the investigators were returning. They'd likely be planning how to deal with it. It could take them a while to get an ID on the victim. Yeah. SRCPO hadn't been asked to deploy today. We were on standby at the station. I love you so much. Awfully bold of them to pull this first thing in the morning at a park in the residential area. Seiki had just shown up at the station and joined our conversation with a frown. Did they leave one of those coins this time? Yeah, it's still being analyzed, but this is unlikely to be a copycat crime. Plus, they did release another video, so there's little doubt that this isn't an Adonis doing. There was a homicide just yesterday, though. Something seemed to miss here. Though videos accompanied all prior murders, there hadn't even been consecutive incidents. This would mark a departure from their previous MO. What changed since yesterday's crime? It hit me once I thought about it. Almost unconsciously, I touched my neck. It didn't start yesterday. Not if I consider my collar as an incident. Ever since I was attacked, the crimes had deviated from their carefully planned nature. Hey, you okay? Are you okay, Seiki? Oh, Seiki. He had stuck his face in mine while I was in deep thought. My heart almost burst with shock. I'm fine, it's nothing. I was just thinking to myself. I understand. Anyone would be feeling pretty down after seeing this happen 2 days in a row. Death by gunshot and now fire. I bet the fire hurt a lot. Thanks, Seiki. Seiki hung his head bitterly. His voice was sad, mourning the victims. It made me worry about his well-being. He was a gentle man. Quit making that face, Seiki. Feeling sad won't help solve these cases. Mochida clapped Seiki on the shoulder in an attempt to lift his spirits. We should do whatever we can to help out. We should try to ensure this doesn't happen again. Yes, of course. There was no time to feel sorry. Anger began to well up in my chest. They say they're delivering justice and judgment, but this is unforgivable. It was clear that they were enjoying the notoriety that came with killing. We absolutely couldn't let Adonis continue. We couldn't let these killers... That wasn't the right word. We couldn't let these killers do as they please. I swore this to myself. Right, let's knuckle down and get to work. Return to your post, Seiki. Haven't you finished your report? Right, I need to turn it in. See ya. That's the spirit. I need to file one too. Hoshino, I'll leave the rest to you. Yes, sir. After I watched Mochida and Seiki leave, I took out my phone. What I can do right now. Regardless, there was something off about Adonis's activities over the past several days. I wanted to collect my thoughts, so I decided to text Yanagi. Has the team gotten a rundown on today's events? Yes. Yet we heard the gist from Sasuke. Was there a matching coin? Maybe. They're still analyzing it. I'll ask again later. Also, this came up yesterday. Something is different about the way Adonis is operating now. My hands paused after I typed out the text. Something was definitely different now, and the reason I set it on was... Their copycat crimes, leadership might have changed. They've lost control of their underlings. Maybe the incident from yesterday and today were both copycat crimes. Maybe somebody copied the coins. No. Not that. That's the one thing I hate when you're like doing a choice and you don't know what she's gonna finish setting. Leadership might have changed. The people giving the orders, have we considered that the organization has changed? That's certainly a possibility. Good. It looks like I wasn't off base. When I said copycat crimes, it just meant that they were repeating the crimes, not that there was a copycat. It was just a possibility, but we couldn't rule it out. That's what I thought. We'll try looking into that. His reply to my hypothesis seemed a bit more curt than I expected. I wonder if I said something strange. I hesitated to send any additional text after that. Then unexpectedly responded. Huh? Another text came. I thought it was Yanagi, but when I looked at the message, it was from a different sender. Shidashi, work going well? Shidashi? I was surprised that Shidashi had texted me, and the confusion made me tilt my head. Probably by work, he didn't mean my actual work. He was likely referring to the demands of the people who put this collar on me. The truth of the X-Day incident. I doubt it would be revealed so easily. Is he toying with me again? Not so much. Still, there was a little point in lying to him. I sent off an honest reply. Did you pair up with Yanagi? Yes, but I have work and I'm not sure whether I should start with this. Don't you think you'll be leaning on Yanagi too hard from the get-go? You've been. Oh, sorry. I felt like Shidashi's message had opened up my eyes. He's right. I have to work on my own. I was Yanagi's support, so I've passively been waiting for Yanagi to act. The coin they found today matched. That was a new piece of information. The coin matched. It was proof that Adonis was behind this. Understood, thank you. I quickly replied and then stood up. I wanted to speak to Shidashi directly. I looked around and saw that Mochida had just returned to his desk. Mochida, may I leave my desk for a bit?
Oh? Oh, 行ってこい.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I'll be back. Maybe he thought I was going to the restroom, but Mochida let me go without a fuss. I gave him a small bow and left the room. Huh? When I went to visit Shidashi, the door was open for some reason. I can hear voices inside. I knew I should come back later if he was busy, but I decided to peek inside.
最低ですわね。
What a scumbag.
ああ、やっぱ無理。マジで無理。
I just can't. I can't take this anymore. Huh? Sakagawara furiously came storming out of the room.
ああ、もう鳥肌立ってる。仕事じゃなかったら抹殺。
He makes my skin crawl. If I wasn't at work, I'd kill him. Excuse me? My voice was meek as I was intimidated by her being on a warpath. Sakagawara finally noticed me and reacted with surprise.
なんだ、あんたか。なんでこんなとこに？
Oh, it's you. What are you doing here? Well, I have business with Shidashi.
はあ？
Huh? Huh? Sakagawara rolled her eyes back in derision? No, I don't know. And I couldn't help but tremble. Sakagawara?
なんで？あんたの仕事とは特に連携なかったよね。
Why? He's not really related to your
もしかして
job.
柳さんたちの関係？それともまさか個人的に？
Is this part of your work with Yanagi's team or is it personal? I faltered, not able to spit out a word.
ねえ、どうなの？
Which is it? Why is she acting like I did something wrong? Well, I guess I'd have to say it's personal. We were actually both part of Yanagi's team, but I wanted to speak with Shidashi for personal reasons. When I replied honestly, Sakagawara's eyes bulged and she began shaking for some reason.
桜川さん、落ち着いてください。星野さんが困っていらっしゃいますわ。
Calm down, Sakagawara. You're going to disturb Hoshino. Mukai had suddenly appeared to rescue me from damnation. Heavenly intervened indeed. I sighed in
主
relief.
任なら中におりますわ。星野さん。ですが、その前に少し。
The director is inside Hoshino, but can we have a moment with you first?
あなたにとっても大事なお話がありますの。
We have something very important to discuss. Mukai's smile was unnerving and I wanted to run. I no longer felt relieved at all.
さあ、こちらへ。
This way, please. Okay. Of course, she wasn't about to let me run. Mukai took a firm grasp on my arm and also pushed Shakagawara along. Somehow, I'd been dragged into the audio room at the end of the hall. Mukai quietly gestured at a chair and I sat down, seeing no opportunity to resist. Mukai also sat down at the chair in front of me of a desk and Sakagawara leaned in listening.
一つお伺いしたいことがあります。
I have a question for you. What is it? This felt like an interrogation. What did I do? I broke out in a cold sweat as I wondered what those intense faces were about to ask me.
あなた、主任とはどういったご関係なんですか？
What sort of relationship do you have with the director? What? Mukai's question didn't register my brain at all.
嘘ついても無駄だよ。正直に吐きな。
Can't lie to us, just be honest. My relationship with Shidashi, why are they being so intense about it? These two women had called me out and were grilling me on my relationship with Shidashi. Could it be? Is it like women confronting each other in dramas? Hey, what's your relationship with him? You just met him, so just back off. He belongs to me. Something like that. Thinking this, I tilted my head puzzled. Might you two be interested in Shidashi? I tentatively asked, trying to get a feel for the situation. What? The response was perfectly in sync. Apparently, I was wrong. From the look of pure disgust on their faces, I could tell they felt exact opposite. What is this about
聞きたい
then?
のはこっちだよ。
That's what we want to ask
ご存知
you.
の通り、主任は署内でかなりの変人扱いをされています。
As you know, the director has earned a reputation for being quite
空
eccentric.
気は読めない。人の顔も名前も覚えない。わざと傷をえぐるようなことを言い募っては自分を棚に上げて人をバカにする。
He's got a lot of problems. He can't take a hint, and he doesn't remember names and faces. He needles people, makes fools out of them like it's normal.
謎の探求にのめり込むとヒートアップして狂気に満ちた笑顔で延々と独り言。
He gets all OCD when solving mysteries and rambling. Madly to himself while smiling, his weird behaviors knows no
変
bound.
人なんて表現生ぬるいよ。あれは少年が歪みまくってる。
Eccentric is putting it nicely. This guy is twisted to his core.
人を怒らせて反応を楽しむのはもちろん、嫌がらせにかける熱意は一級品だからね。
He likes to anger people to savor their reactions, and harassment is like a fine wine to him. Right. I was aware that he was strange, but I honestly had no idea of the extent. I thought he was a man that was difficult to read, but
そんな方ですから、男性はもちろんですが、女性もまず近づきません。初見だけは顔で騙されますが、一発でドン引きが常です。
because he's that way, women avoid him, as well as men. You may be fooled by his pretty face, but he'll kill that delusion
そ
fast.
れなのに、面識のあるあなたはわざわざ主任に会いに足を運ばれました。しかも、個人的な事情とおっしゃいましたね。
Yet you know how he acts, and you've personally come to call on him. You did say it was for personal
正直におっ
reasons.
しゃってください。主任とどのような関係なのですか？
So please be honest with us. What is your relationship with the director? No, this is a big misunderstanding. Now I knew what they wanted, at least. I still had no idea why they were so intense. Basically, they suspected me of having a romantic relationship with Shidashi. We're acquaintances or colleagues, maybe? Anyways, it's definitely not romantic. It was difficult to put into words. I tried to summarize it. Then,
知りたいなら親切な俺が教えてあげようか。
if you want to know, I'll gladly tell you.
げ、
俺とその子はね、秘密の関係なんだ。
That girl and I have a secret relationship, right? You're asking me?
やっぱり
I knew it.
いいか星野、くれぐれも騙されんな。
Listen, Hoshino, don't let him fool you. Huh? With that remark, Shakagawara bolted from the room in a flash. Mukai was actually staggering. She looked physically ill. Shidashi had suddenly appeared and dropped a bomb, was just smiling. Mukai, are you okay?
ですね。半分くらい覚悟を決めていましたのに、いざ肯定されますと衝撃が大きすぎて平静ではいられませんわ。
I thought I was prepared to hear it, but the shock of having it confirmed was so overwhelming that I can't even think.
星野さん、裏若き善とある女性の人生が狂ってしまうのを目の前で見ているだけなんてあまりにも両親が痛みますので。
Miss Hoshino, it pains my compassionate heart to see such a young woman with her entire life before her thrown it to in the sewer like
一言
this.
だけ言わせていただきます。あなた、大変趣味が悪いですわ。
If I may say and be so bold, you have unimaginably poor taste. I didn't know how to react in the face of such profound misunderstanding.
まだいくらでもチャンスはあります。嫌気がさしたらすぐにでも私を頼ってくださいませ。私たちの会にご招待します。
All is not lost. If you tire of him, come ask me for help. I'll send you an invitation to our club.
はいはい、変なこと吹き込まないでよ。この子君たちと違って純粋なんだから。
Alright, enough of this weird insinuation. The girl is innocent, unlike you
失礼
lot.
ですわね。純粋そうだからこそこうして親身になっているのですわ。
How rude. It's because she is so innocent that you shouldn't be getting intimate with her.
それに主任、そこまでおっしゃるなら彼女の名前はきちんと間違いなく
And
フルネーム
director,
で言えますわよね。
if you feel so strongly about her, make sure you actually use her full name. Understood? Shinichi kept his wordless smile, so he's forgotten my name
どう
probably.
いうことですの？恋人の名前すら覚えていないなんて。
How could you not even remember the name of your girlfriend? Like I said, you're
芸道
misunderstanding.
にも程がありましてよ。こうなったら天罰を。
Even a friend should know some shame. At this rate, you'll provoke divine retribution.
芸道で結構天罰もそのうち甘んじて受けるからさ。
Enough with this name calling and insults. Heaven will strike me down one way or
この子と
another.
内緒の話があるから向井さんも外してくれる？
The girl and I have something to discuss in private, so would you mind stepping
よろ
outside?
しいですか主任。署内で彼女に不埒なことをしたらただじゃ起きませんわよ。
Are you sure, director? If you do something improper to her inside the station, you won't get away with it.
品がいるな。
That is out of the
星
question.
野さん、くれぐれもお気をつけて。騙されてはいけません。
Please be careful, Hoshino. Don't be fooled by his masculine wiles. Okay? Before I had a chance to explain anything, Mukai spun on her heel and left. I think this has been a gigantic misunderstanding.
それより俺を訪ねてきたんだよね。
It's fine. You wanted to see me about something?
何の用事？それとも本気で人に言えない密会でもする？
What do you need? Something you couldn't say in front of the others? I shook my head in reply to his teasing. It wasn't the time for that. I wanted to talk to you about the
ま、
cases.
そうだよね。まずは部屋に戻ろうか。
I figured as much. Let's head back to the office first. Shidashi looked a little bored, of course.
鑑識の子が来てたのはちょうどコインのことを話してたからなんだ。
The girl from forensics came by just now to discuss the coin. A coin, so there was a match.
これまでの
He
事件
said
と
that to
性
you.
質が違う点があるっていうのが捜査本部の見解でね。
Investigations HQ stance is that this case differs in a few ways from the
今ま
previous
で以上に
case.
模倣犯の可能性が疑われて相当念入りに調べたんだよ。で、相変わらず無駄に細かい作りで寸分の狂いもなく一致。
They suspected it was a copycat crime, so they were being careful, but the coin's absurdly detailed. As always, it's an exact match. I see. They still haven't identified the
それは
victim.
まだ。招集は時間がかかるからね。
Not yet. Burn victims can take a while to identify.
ま、容疑者のプロファイリングは簡単すぎてつまらなかったけど。
The suspect's profile was so easy, it bored me. Wow, you already built a
も
profile?
ちろん。ご丁寧にアドニスが声明でヒントまでくれてるじゃない。
Adonis was kind enough to give us hints in their announcement. The announcement? That means there's some connection to the July incident. All I could recall about July was a man was a stalker had been killed.
へえ、思ったより頭が回るんだね。
You've given this more thought than I expected. Please stop teasing me. Even an amateur could understand this much. Could you? You couldn't understand this before. I've seen you be
あれ、
confused.
褒めたの？バカになんてしてないよ。
But I was complimenting you this time, not making fun of you. If it wasn't a copycat crime, might Adonis have changed their methods? I wonder whether the consecutive, I can do it. I wonder whether the consecutive events of yesterday and today are a shift in plans. What do you think, Shidashi?
まあ一般的に見れば計画にはなかった犯行だと思うよ。
Conventional wisdom would state that this isn't part of the plan. Conventional wisdom? What do you...
それの答えを俺があげちゃったら意味がない。
That would be pointless if I just told you the answer. Shidashi interrupted me as I tried to ask why, raising his index
君は
finger.
X デー事件の概要についてどこまで詳細を頭に叩き込んでる？
How familiar are you with the details of the X-Day cases? I've made an effort to thoroughly memorize everything that was available to me.
すごい自信だね。その様子だと素人でも知ってるレベルじゃないと思っていいよね。
Pretty confident in her memory skills, eh? Your. Can I assume that you've got more than an amateur level of knowledge then? I didn't just use the database, I looked into rumors here as well as on the internet. I'm pretty confident in my knowledge.
さすが柳くんの下につくと真面目にならざるを得ないってか。
I see, you're quite serious about your assignment now that you're paired with Yanagi. That's not exactly it. It's more like I don't want to drag him down.
じゃあその努力がちゃんと実を伴っているかどうかテストといこう。
Then let me test whether your efforts have actually
これ
paid
までの
off.
X デー事件がどういう目的で起こされたかはもう分かってるよね。
Have you determined the goals of X-Day's cases up to this point? Revenge, right?
そう。じゃあ各月の事件で一体どんな復讐が果たされたのか整理してみよう。
Now let's drill down the specific type of vengeance that was enacted each month.
まず4月と5月の事件は
How about April and May to start? The April and May incidents exposed police scandals. The only victims whose bodies was found at the scene was guilty of... Oh, nice. It's an actual test. Lego. I think I joked that I could do a test. Mistaken arrest.
はいよくできました。
Well done. Looks like you've been studying. It's like I've done a bunch of stories. What about July's incident? The July case was connected to today's homicide. It was stalking.
はいよくできました。
Really have been studying. In August, this case was related to yesterday's event. The victim's occupancy was a connection to the blah 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 blah. Weird. Internet bullying.
はいよくできました。
Man, he said the same thing each time.
9、11月の事件は動機がそもそも不明瞭なままだから、まあこれくらいかな。
The motives behind September and November are unclear, so we'll set those
少
aside
なく
for
とも
now.
4月から8月までの事件では分かりやすい動機が推測できるね。
We can assume that the crimes from April to August had an easy to understand
この動
motive.
機から導かれる容疑者ももちろん上がっていた。
The suspects that these motives led us to were no secret, of course. But they all had abilities, didn't they?
そう。つまりどういうことかわかる？
That's right. So, do you know what that means? The suspects were the clear motives had alibis, but how could they make their motives a bit more unclear? Someone instead of the ringleader who had motives acted in their stead.
正解。じゃあここからさっきの話に戻るよ。
Correct. Now let's return to the previous
昨日と
topic.
今日起きた事件がアドニスにとって予定外のものだったとする。
Let us presume that the
この場合考えられ
recent
ることは
consecutive homicides were not part of Adonis's plans. What would you conclude if that were true? They were unplanned. In other words, these two weren't carefully planned, premeditated revenge murders. The people with a motive to commit murder could have passed this task to someone else. Is that what you're implying? Shidashi prompting led me to the response. Then I voiced it. Suddenly, it all made sense.
ご名答よくできました。そう考えるのが自然だね。
Very good. That would be a natural thing to
昨日
think.
と今日の事件はすぐに容疑者が絞られると思うよ。
I think the police will find the suspects for today and yesterday's crimes very quickly. So far, Adonis had planned their crimes so no connections could be made to the revenge-fueled perpetrators. But it was possible the recent killings were committed by those seeking vengeance. I understand this even less now. Are they trying to tell us to catch them?
わからないよね。ほんと。何考えてるんだろう。
We don't know. Honestly, I wonder what they're planning. Shidashi shrugged, mumbling to himself. Had I just imagined that? Shidashi was still smiling, but I thought I saw a flash of anger. Okay. December 8th, 9:46 p.m. I finished work and was on my way home. I had been thinking all day. As expected, this is incredibly complex. I had thought about what Shidashi said. There was too much that I still didn't grasp. I also hadn't found any concrete leads, and Yanagi hadn't contacted me. He might have just been helping me save face. It had cheered me up a little when Yanagi asked me to help him. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized he hadn't expected much. The collar was our only connection to Adonis. Put bluntly, it was all I contribute. I had no applicable experience, and my academy scores were low aside from marksmanship. What can I do to help? You can go drinking with Seiki. Let's go. Time to go home. I momentarily pondered whether or not I should meet Yanagi, but I was already walking home. In my current state, I doubted that I would be of much help to him if I saw Yanagi anyways.
なんでこんなとこに。
Why is she here?
帰るとこ同じなんだから驚くことじゃないだろう。声かけないの？
Why are you so surprised? You're both going home. Why don't you just say hi? Huh? I had been lost in thought while walking when I heard voices behind me. They sounded familiar. Kazuki? I turned around in a panic. My brother Kazuki and his friend Akito were there. What are you doing out this late? Another murder happened today, you
そ
know?
の事件が起きたから休校になったんだよ。家にいても暇だろ。
They closed school today because of the murder. There's nothing to do at home. His rebellious glare worried me more. His boredom didn't make it this okay. You had a day off because it's dangerous. You're not supposed to go out
す
and
みませ
about.
んお姉さん。和樹は俺を気遣ってくれたんです。
We're sorry. Kazuki was just worried about me. It says Lee. Yeah, it was broken in the other story. And every time Akito said my name, it said the original character's name instead of mine, which is rude. Huh?
こいつ、最近元気ないから遊びに連れてっただけ。なんか、家には居づらいみたいだし。
He's been feeling down lately, so I went to hang out with him. It sounds like it's tough at home for him. I felt some of the worrying alleviate as he muttered and avoided eye contact. I couldn't fault him for helping Nikito, for trying to help out a friend. It's still dangerous to be outside. If things at home make it hard for Akito to stay there, then he can stay at our place.
うるせえな。家だろうと外だろうと。いつ死ぬかわかんねえのは同じだろ。
You're annoying. Who cares whether or not we're at home if we don't know when we could die? Kazuki? He seemed to spit the words
絶
out.
対安全な場所なんてあんの？家にいれば殺されないって保証あるわけ。
Is there any place that would be totally safe? Can you guarantee I won't just be killed at home?
学校の奴らだって事件が起きるたびにバカみたいにはしゃいでるのもいるけど、本当は心の中じゃ怯えてる。
Even the people at school who act like they're excited about the murders when they happen are actually scared to death inside.
自分の番じゃないかって。
They're all worried that they're going to be next. His voice was tinged with an overflowing anxiety. I was painfully aware of how that
アド
felt.
ニスが起こす事件は正義の裁きだとか悪人しか狙われないとか言われてるけど、そんなんで安心できるわけねえし。
Adonis calls their murders righteous judgments and say that only bad guys will be targeted, but that's not reassuring at
ほんのちょっ
all.
とでも悪いことしたことがないやつなんていないだろ。
There isn't anyone alive that hasn't committed some kind of wrongdoing.
た
Shit.
だでさえ街ごと閉じ込められて自由も何もないってのに、これ以上縛られてたまるかよ。
Even if we've been trapped in this town, even if they've been trapped in the town, it doesn't mean that we're free from them. I can't stand being chained up
1
anymore.
月になんか起きるって言われてんだ。そしたらもう新宿なんて終わり。
They said something's going down in January. When that hits, it'll be the end of
どうせ全
Shinjuku.
部なくなるかもしんないなら好きなようにやらせろよ。
Everything here might all be gone someday. Just let me go enjoy the time I have left. Only 1 month remains in the countdown. X day was scheduled for January. I can't believe I only felt the urgency just now. We were running out of time. Even Kazuki was riddled with anxiety. I hadn't known about it intellectually, but I hadn't really understood the situation. Please, I'm worried about you, Kazuki. There wasn't much time left. I didn't want him to give in to his despair. You probably won't be able to attend classes regularly from now on, right? Look, I'm not telling you to stay home. Just be careful. Kazuki did nod. I expected as much, but it still hurt. But I guess maybe he wouldn't be reckless if he's with Akito. I felt ashamed as his older sister, but I was left to rely on Akito to keep Kazuki safe. Thinking that, I turned to Akito. Akito? Are you okay? Are you feeling sick? I saw that Akito's skin tone was a bit off, more than off. He was looking ghastly blue. I'm fine.
悪い。変な話したな。行こうぜ。
Sorry, this got weird. We're going. How I should end every conversation. Kazuki also seemed to notice his friend's condition, and he left with him in concern. I watched the two of them hustle off, and then I turned to leave as well. I was going to see Yanagi. There's no time left. I didn't have the luxury of waiting to figure out what I could do. Kazuki could very well be the next victim. I didn't even want to think about that. Excuse me, I'm coming in.
お、びっくりした。いきなりなんだよ、お前。
You scared me. Why are you popping in all of a sudden? Anamoto was the only one in the office that looked like he hadn't expected me, and his eyes bugged out a little. Where's Yanagi?
うえ。
Upstairs. Oh, on the roof? Thank you.
どういたしまして。
Sure, you're welcome. Man, immersive. Ah, that bad habit. When I reached the rooftop, I found Yanagi smoking and looking over the Shinjuku skyline. Maybe he was thinking about something because he didn't seem to notice me. His eyes looked so sad again. Those eyes, which gazed down at Shinjuku, were full of kindness and sorrow. Seeing him display his emotions like that made my chest feel tight. Yanagi? I didn't want to interrupt his break, but I screwed up. Nope, that's the word. I screwed up my courage and called his name. Yanagi turned around to face me. He seemed a little surprised.
どうしたんだ急に。
Oh, it's you. Why'd you rush over? I'm sorry. for not contacting you first.
いや、それはいいんだが、今降りる。
No, don't worry. I'll head downstairs. That's okay. You can keep smoking here. Yanagi was about to put out a cigarette. I didn't want to inconvenience him too much. Although it's not good for your health.
ああ、やめようとは思ってるんだけどな。
Yeah, I've been thinking about quitting. Smiling bitterly, Yanagi took another drag of his cigarette. Acrid fumes wafted into the air.
頭を切り替えたい時には、ついここに来て一服したくなる。少しは迷いが晴れた気になるんだ。
You developed an addiction, buddy. It's not the same thing. I wanted to clear my head a little, so I figured I'd come up for a smoke. It cleared up some of my uncertainty? I recalled that he had said that here before, everyone's lost about something. Everyone's lost about something sometimes. Lost, okay. Lost, not lost. I'm also uncertain about something. I'm not sure what I can do to help. Before I said that I couldn't lose my way because I'm a police officer, but that was really me overcompensating for my insecurities. I want to figure out how I can help. I at least want to face the right direction. Yanagi, could you give me a directive? When I went straight to the point, Yanagi almost seemed to waver for a second.
俺のサポートをしてくれと言っただろ
I asked you to support me, didn't
う。
I?
お前と話していると考えを整理できる。十分助かってるから焦らなくていい。
Oh, don't tell me I'm just pretty to look at. So when I talk to you, I organize my thoughts. That's plenty of help. So don't fret about it. Are you being honest with me, Yanagi? With Okazaki, what Okazaki was saying made sense, rationally speaking, and Yanagi wasn't the type to lie, but I could feel a hint of dishonesty here. It had to be a type of kindness that only someone who didn't lie would show. He's kind and forthright. I'd only known Yanagi for a few days, but I had no doubt about his character. That's not true. You've known him longer, apparently. Ever since we agreed to work together, I thought I was prepared for anything, but could it be that you don't want me working on this investigation? I looked straight into Yanagi's eyes. He made another bitter smile. He sighed softly and put out his cigarette. He walked over to me.
どうしてそう思った？
What makes you think that? When we were here before, you said that you wanted to restore everyone's daily lives. Yeah. If you meant that, then you must be stressed. There's only 1 month left in the countdown. We no longer have the luxury of time. If you really wanted my help, you'd have asked me more of me. Gathering intel on the station, or menial task, or eavesdropping on people. If we can even make use of this collar, we should. It's worth trying despite the risk. But Yanagi didn't say anything. Or is it because you think I'd be a hindrance to your investigation? A hindrance.
確かにお前の首輪を通して犯人に情報が漏れることは
The fact that your collar relays information back to the criminals is certainly a disadvantage.
漏れて困るような情報はない。手がかりそのものが少ないしな。
But them seeing our cards doesn't hurt now. We don't really have any leads to pursue.
お前を捜査から遠ざけたいと思ったのは本当だ。
Still, it's true that I wanted to distract you from the investigation. Is it because I'm slowing you down? He didn't want me on the investigation. I managed to stifle the shock of hearing him confirm it out loud. Why do you say that? Huh? I was confused to see Yanagi's eyes widen in surprise.
前ここで話したとき、実はな、お前のことで迷っていたんだ。
When we spoke earlier, I wasn't sure what to do with you, to be honest. Me?
客観的に考えれば、お前の存在はうまく利用すべきだ。
A more objective observer would say that we should use you as much as we can.
首輪の先にいるやつが、俺たちに X デイ事件を調べさせたがっているんだ。
Especially since the person on the other side of that collar wants us to investigate
首輪
X
から
Day.
情報を得られるかもしれないし、聞かれたくない話があれば、お前抜きでやればいい。
Maybe we'll get something from the collar and we can exclude you if you want to keep it from them.
お前を捜査に関わらせれば、犯人が接触してくるかもしれない。
On top of that, if you're involved, the criminals might make contact with us. Then why?
俺が警察を辞めた理由は言ってなかったな。
I never told you why I quit the police.
俺はな、
Huh?
全部守りたいんだよ。
You see, I want to protect everything.
文字通り、全部だ。警察のルールでは守れないものも守りたい。
I want to protect all of it. Yes, everything. Even things rules stop the police from
綺麗
protecting.
事だと、自己満足だと、自分でも嫌というほど分かってはいたが、
You may think it's idealism or self-delusion. I hate to admit it, but that could be
それ
right.
も割り切れなかった。だから、警察にはいられなかった。
Still, I couldn't compromise my principle. That's why I couldn't stay on the
お前のこと
force.
もできることなら傷つけない方法を探したかったんだ。
I wanted to find a way to do this without getting you hurt, if possible. If you're saying you were trying to keep me out of danger,
そんな首輪がついてる時点で十分危険なのは分かっているけどな。
I know that you've been in plenty of danger since the collar was
でも
put
だ
on
から
you.
こそそれ以上の危険に
But
わざわざ放り込む必要はないと
that's all the more reason not to send you into unnecessary
お前の
danger.
捜査能力を重視していなかったのも事実だ。悪かった。
It's true that I didn't think much of your own investigation skills. I'm sorry about that. No, Yanagi's sentiments were kind, but that is a thought. He had acted out of concern for me. Unless she's talking in third person to him, which would be real weird. His lack of respect for my police skills can be brushed aside because it was obvious, but that was no reason to be complacent. I just wanted to act. I wanted to seize my fate with my own power. This is my own opinion. I don't think it's the safest choice to exclude me. I want to help however I can. I want to have a job and do it well. Yanagi wore a pained expression. I held my gaze and channeled my will into it. I wasn't going to back down no matter what.
分かってはいるんだ。今のお前を危険から遠ざけたとしても、別に守ることにはならない。
I understand. Excluding you now wouldn't necessarily protect you. He was quiet for a moment. Finally, he spoke in resignation. But
それは困りますね。柳愛知さん。
that would be problematic. Aiji Yanagi. A mechanical voice suddenly interrupted us. It was obvious where it came from. What's he about to say? The collar on my neck.
我々は伝えたはずです。彼女に X デー事件の真実に触れてほしいと。
We believe our message was clear. If you have her stand idly by after
彼女
she's
が何もせず立ち止まるのであれば、
expressed her intent in seeking X
用
Day's
心な
truth,
存在となるだけです。
we will have no further use for her.
その意味はもちろん、わかりますね。
We're sure you understand the implications. I shivered. I couldn't suppress the spine tingling chill. We did it! That's a weird way to end that chapter, but we're gonna end it here now. Because I have to go to work at some point
我
today.
々は伝えたはずです。彼女に X デー事件の真実に触れてほしいと。
It's got a lot to say. All right, well, we got through. Technically, the prologue was a bit bigger than the chapter this time. So the prologue we had to play back through because for Yanagi, he has a special beginning. So he has more story than the other ones did. So that took a little bit longer to get into it. But so far, it's interesting. I'm curious what's going to happen next. I'm hoping that Seiki is going to turn out to be the devil, which is what I want. It's what I really, really want. We're going to see how it continues to unfold. So thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to see my older stuff, you can visit me on YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, you can see my newer stuff on Twitch. Have a lovely day. Bye, Javi.